we'll get to that. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
All right. So, hey folks, I am the last Tech, your favorite robot American, and one of the co-creators of the AEUS on the Edge of Stars setting. I am not familiar with the mountain. This is a new thing, so I'm not going in. I'm going in very blind as to what I'm about to experience. Super excited to be here, and a happy returning player on DM's lovely channel.
Oh.
Let me pick. Jihan, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jihan. I've played on this channel before. I'm also a returning player.
Yes,
I'm going to be playing Mikolai. He is an engineer on this hellscape, and I'm looking forward to it.
And Natalie.
Sorry, had to unmute myself.
Oh,
Hi, I'm Natalie. This is my first time playing a Call of Cthulhu-like game. Actually, it's only my second time playing a tabletop game that is not Dungeons & Dragons, so I'm excited.
And it's a very good one to get introduced to, might I say. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about the character you're playing, if you'd like.
Yes, my character's name is Ellis. She is a park ranger. And, I'm not sure what else to say about her yet.
Oh crap!
All will be revealed in time. I mean, let's come back to you because you didn't talk about the stoneworker.
Yeah, no, not at all. Actually, I should have asked character or person.
Both. You are
both.
your character.
I am. So the stoneworker is a tethered, which is basically what mages are called in this setting, and a rather belligerent sort. He is a grizzled, appears to be like mid to late 30s man who's worked hard work most of his life. Dark skin, hair tied back in multiple dreads, wears like a little fur kind of mantle. And as far as the rest of the details on him, I'll let him come out in the game, but just look out for me. He tends to hit like a brick.
Yeah. See, and we don't just have one tethered.
That's, I guess, my cue.
Yep.
Y'all know me. It's your boy. I am playing Nihilus. He is a member of the church, and he also has a affinity for tethering.
And that's all you're gonna say? Okay,
That's all I want to say right now. Do I have
That's
to say
all?
more?
No, that's fine, man. So, all of you have your reasons for journeying out to the mountain. The mountain isn't just a mountain. It is a territory owned by a tethered called the mountain. And beneath his rule, these lands have been at peace for generations. But there is an odd thing. He's been alive for 200 years. No human lives that long in AEUS. No human lives that long in our world. So, what is keeping this man alive? Well, people say that it's his tether that is keeping him alive, but others believe that he himself is the manifestation, a living god. Which would make sense, because it is said that this man could simply raise a finger and wipe a person from existence, just explode them. But the mountain isn't a mean, warmongering person, no. His lands have been peaceful for a century. He has no reason to raise arms. So, you were all here for different reasons. Some of you live here. Some of you came here on pilgrimage or journeyed here for whatever reason. But you know that the mountain is a very peaceful place. Or so you think. Or so you've been told. Now, I'll show you folks the first chunk of the map. The map. This is all you get to see right now. So let me see, yeah. So, obviously, Derek, you came from the north. Nihilus came from the north. Nihilus of the north. Oh, I like that. Oh, let's see. Forgive me, I'm just fixing a few things. Yes. So, now this place is very simply named because the mountain himself wished for people not to have to remember these grandiose names or these legendary people, because in the mind of the mountain, he believes that everybody here plays their part and has a part to play equally. So why should we name territory after certain people? Now, that wouldn't stop people from naming his territory the mountain, but it's ambiguous enough to where most common people, would not know that it is his namesake. For the man is said, however many hundreds of years ago, to have split this mountain after finding the power somewhere out in the drink. Now, with this power, he did split the mountain, but he didn't just split the mountain, he made a home for thousands of people that were fleeing from other countries, other territories, because they had nowhere else to go. And in his wake, he grew grass, crops, made trees once more, and brought life to this place that was once barren. 200 years in the future, things seem calm, but there is a subtle tenseness to the people. They're worried about their leader, but their leader shows no real signs of faltering, except for his physical appearance. And many suggest that he is now unfit to rule. Such an accusation would lead to not so positive reactions from the overseers, which are the guards that watch over the place. The overseers act not as like a police force, but more of a pseudo-military organization. And okay, thank you. They act as a pseudo-military organization that roam around like rangers almost, and they do not like hearing bad things about the mountain. They're almost fanatical in the way that they look to him for guidance. That being said, there are religious organizations that devote themselves to the mountain, as I've said. But let's could everybody roll luck for me?
Okay.
If there was supposed to be a map on screen, by the way, Red, we do not see it.
Yes.
Oh, that's because I'm a twat and I forgot to move it. There we go.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't want to say.
Oh, my producer hat's always on.
Fair, man. Fair.
Okay, let's see everybody's luck checks. We have a...
Dude,
That's
kicking
pretty
it.
good. I'm glad you guys are getting that out of your system now.
Fantastic map, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, that's great.
How do I roll luck on here?
Okay, so you go to your character sheet. Let me see here. Let me pull that up real quick. Spaghetti 2. Electric Boogaloo. So you'll see... Okay, let's take you out of edit mode. Actually, let me fill in some things real quick. For folks that are just joining us, this is a brand new campaign. This is no longer the 1940s. This is AEUS, a campaign that a lot of us have been cumulatively working on. Okay, so Natalie, you can just, if you look at your sheet, you can just click on luck and it'll automatically roll it for you.
Okay, thanks.
You are welcome. See if we have any failures.
Where's... Sorry, now I just have to find it.
It's one of
you're
the top
good.
ones.
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Yeah. If you don't
Sorry,
see it, you might need to click on the three little lines in the top right corner. And it should be under the little newspaper section that says journal.
Oh, I'm just blind. I see it.
Okay, go ahead and roll that for me. Oh, okay. So we did have a
Push
failure.
yourself.
Okay.
The one person who...
No, don't actually. Don't actually. Actually, I don't. Yeah, I guess I get a lot of push on a luck roll. Well, Natalie, you rolled the highest, so we're gonna introduce your character first.
Okay.
Nice.
So you are in the forest, whatever you would like to call it. You are a green warden. You're a ranger. You're a park ranger. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
You protect the woods.
basically.
A forester.
There we
Forester.
go.
Forester, yeah.
Something like that.
Outdoors woman, whatever you want to call it. So, you've protected these woods since you were born, since your mentor took you under his wing and passed you down all of his belongings, and now you're the one that protects these woods from, be it invasive species, people doing criminal activity out here, and what have you. But it's been really quiet. You haven't really had much to do. You've just been sort of enjoying your weeks, just relaxing, making tea from the local herbs, and it's unusually quiet. You actually don't see that many animals anymore. Not even simple things like deer, rabbits. Nothing. Just quiet.
Well, this is quite unusual and rather suspicious.
Indeed. Would you like to make a check for me?
Um,
Any check you can justify to investigate this problem would be apt.
let me look through my stuff real quick. Hmm.
Oh, let me show the people at home your character art real quick.
Oh yeah.
Natalie has actually illustrated her own character, so thank you for that. That's really cool.
Looks
Yeah, no
awesome.
problem. Thank you. Quality isn't as good because I think I sent you a small file size.
That's no worries. Let's see here.
No, the
The
quality's
graininess
just as
makes
good.
it
It's just
more. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like I said, the graininess makes it adds to that post-apocalyptic vibe.
True, true.
And if you click on it, it
Mhm.
actually comes to full resolution, so it looks fine.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a
Awesome.
compressed image on the character sheet.
Oh, thank you
Okay,
for the host
so I'm thinking I would like to track, see if I can find any sign of other living beings in the woods. You know, maybe there's just not deer in this area. I just have to look around and I'll find something.
Yeah, perhaps the hunting season has left the place a little bit barren. Perhaps things have been a little bit overhunted. I will allow you to make a regular track check, so just go ahead and click on that for me, and it'll automatically roll. See what you got.
Hmm.
Failure. Well, you sort of look around the usual game trails that you're expecting to see, and you sort of brush away leaves and stuff like that to look at the underbrush to find tracks, but you find oddly nothing at all. This place is just completely barren of life, save the green and the oranges and browns of the plants, grass, and trees. But no animals. There's not even a remote sign of animals. Not even a little nibble on a leaf from something small like a caterpillar.
What is the plant life like around me? Or is it still thriving? I'm not even sure what season of the year we're in.
It would be about spring. So yeah,
Okay.
everything, all your cruciferous vegetables are nice and bright, and they've grown to full size, and everything is just really pleasant. Like the vegetation in the land is perfectly fine.
So that's
but
not affected.
yeah,
Just
but
the wildlife, it seems.
mhm. All you can figure is that something sort of drew them away, but you're not sure what
Where?
exactly.
Very strange. I don't have a lot that's helpful in this situation. Could you remind me what natural world is again?
Natural world is sort of understanding like what's going on with the wildlife, like that would be identifying the problem, like why they would have left to begin with.
Oh, that seems like the exact kind of thing I need to do.
So go ahead and make the roll.
Oh,
We're off to a good start. Jihan, give her some of your luck.
Numbers are mean today. Let's do numbers.
Yeah, I'm just off my game today. I'm like, do I even really care about the wildlife right now? I'm sure they'll come back.
Yeah, no, you just say, whatever, and you just head back to your cabin because, like, I mean, there's nothing like going on out here, obviously. It's just, and you sit back down, and you rest for a few hours, and then you hear a crunching noise, like something's walking around outside. It's just very sudden too, because there's not even a cricket chirping. There's just a slight breeze through the trees, and you hear sort of walking around like it's patrolling, and it's heavy. It's loud.
Well, I would imagine that I usually keep a weapon on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and reach behind my back and pull my, is it pistol or my handgun out, and just kind of keep it to my side, ready to point at something.
As soon as you start moving, excuse me, the stomping stops, and it's like it's right outside the door. And then you hear a knock, 3 knocks. So it's obviously not a creature or a bit of wildlife. It's human.
Still, not expecting anyone.
It's
2
quite-
questions.
Go
1,
on.
have I bolted the door? I feel like I would. Well,
Make a
actually,
luck check.
I'm in the middle of the woods. I'm not expecting anyone. I probably.
Make a luck check. Let's see.
We'll
Let's see
let,
if you
yeah,
fucking do
we'll
it.
let that decide.
It's bolted enough to where like some thief is gonna get dissuaded if they realize that the thing's like heavily locked. But this person doesn't seem dissuaded because they have knocked. After all, thieves don't usually knock.
Very true. Is there a peephole I can look out of?
Sure, yeah. So you sort of you like glance between the cracks in the wooden door, and you see that there's a fellow standing there, and he just sort of has his hands in front of himself, just looking quite polite, wearing garb of the city in the mountain. He doesn't look very threatening by any regard. He looks a bit off because he's wearing a leather flat cap with goggles atop his head. He's a portly older fellow, but you can tell he's a big dude. He's at least over 6 feet in height.
I just call out without opening the door. Who is it?
Yeah, the guy clear his throat profusely, and it sounds like he's about to hawk something up. Well, is this Miss Ellis?
Depends who's asking.
I'm a nobody. My name's Hank Valens. I've come here to collect your taxes.
I sent those in already.
Well, I'm afraid that we never got them. I'm a courier on behalf of the overseers. And you can sort of see his visage through the door.
You got any kind of identification?
He starts like patting himself down, and you see him sort of jiggle when he pats himself, and he reaches into a leather pocket and pulls out. You see he has like a little tin badge, and it is definitely overseers. You know that, and the overseers never bother you. So something like this happening twice is a little weird because you have given your taxes, and what have you, and they are still coming out here to collect taxes. Something bad must have happened to need to have taxes collected twice, because you don't really have that much money to begin with, or anything to trade for that matter.
Alright, wait right there. I guess I will go get some money. Because I just want this situation to be over with. I don't want any trouble, but I also don't want to let this guy in.
That's fair. You sort of look around your cabin, which I'd imagine your cabin's probably like, I don't know, like 10 by 15 square feet. It's not very big, but it's cozy, you know, it's homey. And you're sort of looking around and scrapping around. You want to make another luck? Actually, it's a little weird, but make a credit rating check for me.
Okay. Where is that again?
It's on the yeah, it's under skills. It'll be
Skills. Okay.
should be alphabetical, I think. Maybe, I don't know. It'll be on the far left. I know that.
Oh yeah. Okay, got it.
I've never had anybody make a credit check rating, but it's funny because you don't have money.
Yeah, and I didn't do well.
You're sort of scrapping around and trying to. You're pushing things around, seeing if you have any like even the smallest amount of like maybe dust or anything that would be worth trade, and you realize that You just have a bunch of dry goods and pretty much stale bread, and you're not going to be able to give this guy money.
So I've got some bad news.
Well,
I sent my taxes in, so I don't have the money to pay taxes because I already mailed it. So maybe you could come back another time?
well, I'm afraid that we can't do that. Sorry, Miss Ellis, but I'm going to have to take you into town.
Hmm,
You're not under arrest or nothing. We just need to figure something out here.
I don't like this. Okay. Give me a minute here. Do I
Okay.
have another exit or anything? Just out of curiosity.
You probably have a window or two. Natalie
Um,
out here thinking about fucking tax evasion.
I already paid my
Manual kind of
taxes,
tax
damn it.
evasion. The leaping out
Damn
of windows
IRS coming
tax
after me
evasion.
again. I can't even afford them in a fantasy world.
True apocalypse.
The IRS still exists, the most powerful government agency.
Infrastructure's gone, but IRS still here.
I just feel a little skeptical about the whole thing. Like, what's really gonna happen if I go into town with this guy?
It's your call.
Up. I guess I'll play it safe and hesitantly open the door.
Guy's sort of standing there. He doesn't really have any sort of intentions of doing anything bad. He just has his thumbs hitched into his belt, and his he's sort of pressing his gut in to do that, and he just gestures. I'm sure we'll be figuring something out. No trouble here. Grab anything and everything you need. You might be in there for a day or two.
Okay. I pack up my stuff and I make sure to grab my rifle as well. Well, technically my elephant gun.
Your big gun.
Putting
And he looks at
that over my shoulder.
it. Huh. What you hunting with that?
Well, you never know when a wild animal might attack, and gotta protect myself.
Must be some wild animal. He'd nod and just like shrug like whatever, and he'd start walking back towards the town. And you could tell he made nicks in the tree with a knife, so you can sort of like make his way back. That might be bad for you because somebody just literally made a trail out to your cabin. But what are you
Not
gonna
like I have money for them to steal, apparently.
do? Now you're taking your trees. Okay, so you're in the city. Now, next character. Who rolled worse on the luck? Let's see. We have a 37, a 15, and a 22. Nikolai! Oh, lovely. Putting you, Johnny, on the spot. So, you're at your workshop, right? The workshop that you opened, if I recall? If you want to give us a little bit of a synopsis there.
For me?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so Nikolai, he inherited the workshop. His father passed away. He was like, taught everything about engineering and drawing stuff and creating stuff on the fly. Water bottles cut in half to like do something with like ear holes, you know.
Yeah.
You know, what is it? Artificial implants, you know. Putting prosthetics on tethered people because they don't have limbs sometimes, you know.
And you probably don't encounter very many tethered people. And a matter of fact, why don't you roll a d10 for me? Just a straight up d10. It's been about 4 years since you've last fitted a tethered. So you're wondering kind of where they all went, because tethered are eccentric to say the least, and considering that the ruler of your town is a tethered, and not only that, but considered a living god, you haven't fitted him for a prosthetic because the guy hasn't needed one. his personal assistants have found a way to sort of prolong the life of his limbs. And to be fair, he doesn't use his abilities very much. But like I said, it's been 4 years since you've last fitted a tethered, and since then there's been sort of a drought. You're not necessarily complaining, because usually where tethered walk, they leave destruction in their wake. But things are getting a little bit more difficult, because honestly, that was a pretty consistent business that you got. What's the word I'm thinking of? Lucrative. That was a pretty lucrative form of business that you got, and now there's nobody around to fit anymore. And you used to make a lot of money off of that, because you used to make pretty good prosthetics, but now you're just sort of like fixing people's engines for their crop machines, and you're sort of like changing people's AC and stuff like that. You're basically a glorified handyman. You haven't really fixed any real engines in a while, especially considering there's a lot of other mechanics in town, and they're sort of getting the leg up on you. No pun intended.
Damn it.
So, what is your credit rating?
My credit rating. Let me see that. It is, I think it was 30. Let me see. Yeah, 30.
30 is good, but it's still pretty low. You want to make a credit rating check for me? See how you're doing right now?
Oh,
No.
of course he fucking...
So it begins.
Yeah,
so
Derek,
it begins.
Derek's already gone. So these past few months, you've been doing okay. You've been making enough to sort of like live a comfortable lifestyle, like you expect. You're sleeping in the room above your shop. Everything seems sort of all right, and then it happens on your metal garage door, very early in the morning, about 5 or 6. Pretty much before sunup. There's a loud pounding that I'm not going to replicate because I don't want to destroy the viewers' ears. But you can tell that somebody's out there and they are pissed.
What? What is it?
Hey,
I
get
make
out
my
here,
way.
you son of a bitch! You owe us money.
I owe you money?
Get the fuck out here! I'll put a hole in your head while you sleep.
Oh, I'm ready for you this time.
Are you ready
Yeah.
for it, huh?
I'm gonna put my welding hood down, pull out my torch. You got something now to say? And I open the door.
You see this big fellow, and when I say big, he's wider than he is tall. He stands about 5'6", and you instantly recognize this thug.
You again.
Oh yeah, you're not paying up as usual. This is Big Stone. He is a prominent gang leader around here, and he's very much an extortionist. To his left and to his right are guys that look like giants compared to him, and they have some heavy-looking rifles in their hands. Stuff that looks like it came from the overseers. They'll gun you down if you try anything with that little butane torch.
What is it? I've paid already.
Nah, buddy, you haven't paid shit. You gotta understand that this is our territory now, and we're gonna need as much money as we possibly can. Times are a little, tough, you understand?
La 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 la. All I hear is talking. What do you want?
Hey, fuck you. Give me your fucking money or I'll beat your ass. Give me some dust or something. Give me something worthwhile.
Oh. This is the last time. I got a business to run.
Yeah, I do too, buddy. As you can see right here, I gotta feed these two.
All right. So I'll go fetch the desired amount. Big Stone.
So you actually have a little flask of dust that is worth 2 or 3 months of rent. That's the only thing you could think to turn over to him, and he's probably not going to accept anything except for all of it.
What, he's not going to get a credit card out and break it?
Just do a line up the nose. Yeah.
Hey, Caesar.
Okay. Alright, I give him the dust.
Pleasure doing business with you, Miko. Your papa would be proud.
Nah. Get out of here.
Yeah, just remember who gave you that scar, you ugly son of a bitch. He's gonna raise his arms, and you see his like arm flap sort of jiggle because he's just wearing a tank top, and the two turn on their heels and start walking off down the street, and he just sort of hitches his hands into his pockets and walks off, all happy, sort of like tossing the dust in his hand, like, oh yeah, that's the shit.
Dude, this man is a dead man.
Well, Miko, you've known about this guy for a long time, and he's just getting incredibly overbearing to the extent of just like, maybe you're starting to realize that you lost one of your most lucrative forms of business, and now you're dealing with this guy who's taking everything that you got to the point where you're eating breadcrumbs. So it's either you take this to the overseers, which will probably do nothing about it, or you take matters into your own hands, or you find a better way to make money. Got a lot of options here.
Maybe I should hire a hitman for this man.
That would cost more than the dust you just turned over. But I wish you luck. Dust crumbs.
Alright, so yeah, I closed the door. I guess that would be like to cut the scene, right?
Yeah. That's a good introduction, I think. I hope you guys like Big Stone. I had fun drawing him.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say, your characters have like a slightly Samurai Jack vibe to them. And I like that, actually. Like they're all just like a little bit like their angles are a little off. They have a lot of posture in their heads. It looks great, man.
Thank you. Okay, so who rolled worse out of the two of you? So dramatic when I take my glasses off. I'm just like
I got a 15.
Oh, so
I didn't get a 15.
You got a 22.
Yep.
Your luck is 35, you poor bastard. So
you know his story. He wouldn't have high luck anyway.
Well, I mean, he is he has foundations in reality.
True.
And stone, anyway, whatever, fuck it. So you're tell us what your character's doing, because you actually have a bit of more of a something that I don't really have control of.
That's fair. So
you're coming from the south, by the way.
Right, I figured as much looking at the map. So I wasn't sure whether or not he would be here, but I assume he's coming to here at this point then.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. I forgot to show off Jihan's character art because I have not posted it anywhere yet. So that is Mikolai.
Hey.
For the folks.
Yeah, it looks so good.
It looks so good.
Thank you. I do my best. I'm really happy with how he turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Handsome man. Okay, so stoneworker, as you were.
So yes. Okay, so I figure then the stoneworker is coming in to the mountain from the valley. He's probably been journeying for a while now, and as far as his clothing goes, his attire is, well, compared to everyone else's here, practically medieval, but hardy. It's strong, resilient traveler's clothes. He wears heavy leathers and like a simple, almost like fine, I guess like a sackcloth shirt. But it's like it's tailored well. Clearly, it was made well. The materials were just limited. He's wearing a mantle with fur on it. It looks like it could be. Honestly, it could be anything. It could be Stoat, it could be Fox, it could be a bear, big shrug. Whatever it is, it's lined on a relatively ratty but otherwise functional hardy cloak. He has a weathered face. He doesn't look like he's super old, but he's in that like 30s going on 50s kind of face. This is a guy who's definitely not had the easiest time. Yeah. And
Omni also illustrated his own, so and it, like Natalie's, it looks fantastic, and it gets me hype.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So besides that, the only real other details on him, besides his extremely like dark tan, approaching like a more like wooden shade of brown skin, and his eyes in particular are extremely bright, almost glowing backlit orange. Not natural, and clearly would denote him as a tethered, were it not also for his hands. which as he walks, you'll be able to see are cracked and almost have like the same craggy, stone-like texture of the mountains. Not mountains from around here, though. And as he walks, you can see little bits of like earth levitate and then fall to the ground as he walks past. He's been walking for days, I'm sure, with a backpack full of provisions, which he's probably eaten and likely added to by the occasional killing of wildlife and cutting it up for food and sustenance and sort of storing in the pack.
My man just throwing rocket pebbles at rabbits. Just
Yeah, like literally holding out finger, pulling trigger, and rabbit just splits in half.
That's the way to live.
Yeah, man.
So, and you travel through the valley. It's been a lot more peaceful than you anticipated. You expected the mountain to. This guy is feared for his territory. So you would only expect his territory to reflect his reputation. But instead, this place is very jovial. It's like the stories you've heard about the Promised Land, where people throw people down holes and stuff like that, as it were. But
sorry, out of game reference. I got that reference.
If you watch the last episode, but this place is peaceful. It almost makes you jealous because your home looks nothing like this. This place is you can feel the grass between your toes to the extent where you probably took off your boots or whatever just to walk through the grass because it's so pleasant. And on a hill, you see situated a bit of a mud hut, but it's shaped and it has thatched roofing, and there's a little bit of a stretch of farmland nearby, probably about an acre's worth of it, and it seems to be growing some sort of maize, which would be pretty appropriate, especially considering the season, and it's about knee-high. So, but you wouldn't know anything about growing seasons. You literally just destroy things.
Yeah, no. My job is definitely not in the field for sure. Not that kind, anyway.
Not that kind of field. You see a large bovine creature. I'm trying to think of the. You guys know the cows that went extinct
Oryx.
Oryx? Yes, thank you. Okay, you're totally right. Just a huge creature. Now, how tall is the how tall is the stoneworker? Excuse me.
Stoneworker is big. In terms of raw stats, he's size 80. So
so you're pretty.
He's a massive pillar of a man.
So you're like 6'4", 6'5", just like
at least, yeah. He's big.
This thing's as tall as you. This giant thing, and it's obviously it's a peaceful animal because it's acting as a beast of burden. There's a woman wearing a sun hat or a straw hat to sort of like keep the sun out of her eyes while she's working her eye rather. She's working the field like tilling for a new set of things to grow during later seasons, and she looks over at you with sort of a look of confusion because it's immediately obvious to you that she doesn't see people come from the south.
Yeah, had a feeling. So he looks up, and his face is almost. This man has a perpetual like. He just almost always seems to have a snarl like wired into his jaw, and whether that's
RBF.
Yes, exactly, very much so. Trying not to say it out loud because I don't know. I don't know why I'm being suddenly so catty about it. Yeah, no, definitely. So he looks up and he looks to the animal. And as he approaches, he slowly raises a hand and he tries his best to sort of diminish the snarl on his face so that he only appears neutral in his expression as opposed to slightly irritated as he always is. And raises a hand. Do you have any food or any directions where I can go to get food? I'm incredibly hungry and I could really use something.
She takes the hat from her head and uses the back of her hand to wipe sweat from her brow because it's not a hot day, but she's been working on a somewhat temperate day, so it's prone that she's going to be sweaty, and she looks over at you. She's not a young woman by any means, but she's certainly not old. She's probably in her 30s. She's been working and had the sun beating down upon her face day in, day out. And she just sort of gives you a confused look. We don't get many strangers around here. You want food? I got food. You want directions? I got directions. But what are your intents?
Hmm.
And the the large bovine creature just turns its head to look at you like, the fuck you doing here?
He
It
holds
senses
his
something wrong with you.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fair. He steps closer, doing his best to appear non-threatening. Not like that's really possible between his posture and the fact that the hand he's holding almost appears to be made out of granite. Sort of holds his hand up and just sort of vaguely gestures to the bovine, like sort of a "not gonna hurt you" gesture.
You see its
I'm just
nostrils just flare as it sort
Yeah.
of huffs, like,
just passing through. I'm searching for something. I promise you don't have it. I'm just passing on.
as you sort of examine this woman and watch for her intents, you see that her hand's sort of at her side like this, and that she has a decent sized iron in a holster.
Hmm.
No offense, stranger, but I don't trust you, and I don't trust anybody that comes from the north or the south.
In case you hadn't noticed, and he holds his hands up, pulling that iron wouldn't be good, and I'd rather not risk what happens afterwards. You have a nice farm. I'm not here to threaten you. I'd rather, really, just have something to eat, and I'll be completely out of your hair. Or, if you don't want, you don't mind if I walk around your farm, right? I'm not going to be dodging iron for that.
Her hand sort of relaxes, and it, like, lands on her hip. You just want food, and you're just passing through with those hands of yours. I know what you are. I'm not ignorant.
Congratulations, you're literally the most observant person I've ever met.
I don't need that
Yes.
mouth from you, boy. I've lived long enough to not listen to smart-mouthed men. Now, you want food or not?
I do, and I would appreciate it. Yes, I am tethered. I'm not trying to hide it. Just don't feel like broadcasting it.
Well, don't worry. We ain't got a radio station here for miles. She's just gonna unharness the Arak, and the thing's just gonna be this big creature is still just watching you like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you at all. And he's just gonna sort of start grazing after he's let free, and she's gonna start walking towards her hut and doing a little bit of a skip. She will feed you with the humble offerings that she can, which is probably just some sort of stew made from rabbit and other local vegetables and fruit. Honestly, if the scenery didn't make you jealous, the food does too.
Oh yeah, no.
Because everything that you're used to eating is grizzly and dry and bitter. This is refreshing. Probably the most wholesome meal you've ever had. And it's clear that this woman lives alone.
Right. That's fair. He'd be gracious about it, or at least as gracious as he can be. Thank her for the food as he eats. For the most part, keep to himself as he does so. Offer to help clean afterward. Best is, like, just quietly, like, kind of a, do you have somewhere for me to scour this, or...
I'll take care of it. Just leave it. Now you want directions.
Yeah. Nearest larger settlement here. I don't see any walls.
No walls. We don't need none of them. She steps outside, expecting you to follow.
he follows, but slowly sort of just looking around at that "we don't need walls" comment, and pauses. You don't need walls. Really? Like, I've heard talk of the mountain, but I assume that was just hyperbole. I didn't think it was. He just looks around and he's looking for the usual thing he sees in city-states. Massive stakes of wood and stone at the bottom for miles in some cases around territories. There's nothing.
You see no palisades. Where palisades should be, there are foothills. And where stone paths are and heads on pikes should be, there are just massive shoots of very elegant looking flowers and plants.
What the hell is this?
I was about to make a reference that nobody was going to get, so I won't. As you look around, she gestures out, and you see this massive mountain in the distance, and you get a good look at it. Peaks are sort of like this. And it looks like one mountain, but it's clear it's been like hacked. It's like a mountain just sort of slid on itself, like those scenes you see in like anime and like action movies where they get cut and they like slowly slide
just
over
slightly
each
slides offside.
other.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, and you see this thing far off in the distance being slightly obfuscated by fog and clouds. That there's the mountain, and no, we ain't scared of no one. You don't understand anything about him, do you?
Of course I don't. Never been here in my life. And he looks at the mountain like out of everything he's seen so far. The lack of walls is more distressing to him than that mountain. Because he recognizes tethered sign. That, the lack of walls is still getting under his skin.
And she gestures. There's a reason I ain't afraid of you tethered.
Well, if he did that, yeah, I get that.
He didn't just do that. He could look at you the wrong way and melt you. And that ain't no story. That's not something that us farmers spread around. That's something I've seen myself.
You ever hear of Glaswall by any chance?
I have, and I've heard that it's a wicked and evil place of devilry.
Well, no accounting for taste, I suppose. But, I believe it. All right. So just straight walk through?
You've walked this far. I think you can walk a little further.
I dare say so. Thank you. I never quite caught your name.
Wendy. Wendy Carson.
Thank you, Wendy. He tries his best to make us smile, but sort of just kind of looks like he's sneering upside down.
A smile upside down. That sounds like a bad Google Translate.
Yeah. And he sort of just looks over and begins to walk again.
There he goes. Oh, all right. Derek. Are you ready?
Hi.
Okay. So, Derek's character is one that I also illustrated. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay. Sorry, sometimes these glasses are hard to see out of. Wow.
Cool.
Wait, why did I make it a character sheet? No. I'll fix that while we're talking about your character. Alice, you perhaps have the most exotic homeland.
Yeah.
Tell us why you're here and how you got here. So you're just arriving. I think that's a good way to set the scene. You are just arriving by boat.
So Nihilus is wrapped up pretty tight. All his body below the neck is wrapped up in bandages that look like they've been on for a very long time. He is shrouded in a very strange type of armor. It is like padded cloth interlaced with like woven pads of metal in specific places. He has set into his face, like beaten into his face, into like sockets that were drilled in, is a large skull, obfuscating everything above the his upper lip, and his left hand is completely wrapped up in bandages at this point in time. His eyes are quite red as well.
As they are.
Fantastic.
So damn good, man.
I love
so
this.
damn good.
I love this so much. It's so good.
This is a perk of being in my campaigns, folks. I draw your characters. And if I don't draw them, I got wonderful players that draw their own characters. That's so cool. God, that's something I've always wanted to do. Anyway, sorry, I'm just nerding out.
Oh, I love
so,
Me and Beans got your back.
So, Nihilus, you're probably here with Scions, because it's sort of here, it's difficult to get across the drink by yourself. And you would definitely know that, because, and one thing Nihilus would immediately note on the halfway point across the drink, it went from just being freezing cold from your home to being pleasantly warm. Honestly, it's intrusive how warm it is, and you hate it, because you have to shed layers just to sort of compensate for it, because you start sweating profusely as soon as you touch down on the very edge of the mountains territory. Let me mark a spot where you actually are, because this might be coming into importance. Yup. There you go.
Okay.
That X is where you've landed.
Fantastic.
How many scions do you have with you? They're probably indentured servants. Twitch.
I would say that I have 3. Septimus, Octavia, and Decimus.
Okay. Let me write those down real quick. Make sure I don't forget. Septimus, Octavia, and Decimus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotcha. Writing those down. Excellent. Okay. So, Decimus looks up at you. I'm assuming you're giving me liberty to say how these people look.
Yeah, so Septimus is a kind of short-looking man. He does not hail from our part of the world normally. He actually comes from a place that was conquered and converted. He is a short, wiry man with long, curly hair that comes down to his shoulders, and he is not wearing anything too like immaculate or spectacular, because he is the one that tends to my arm. He tends to all my gear, and that is his thing. Octavia is a bit more regal. She has like actual adornments on her gowns. It is very clear that she is the one that takes care of my day-to-day affairs. Gets me lodgings, takes care of food and everything. And then Decimus is a completely like masked individual. None of their skin is showing. They have complete black garb on, and they are the newest addition because number 9 had some bad stuff happen to them. So Decimus is my new officiator with the church that actually keeps track that I'm doing my job.
So he's the one that keeps track of making sure that you're carrying out the good old way.
Yeah, he's the eyes of the church. If he verifies that the job was done, then the job was done.
Okay. So as you sort of stand in the boat with your arms crossed and your servants help you ashore, you step out onto this new and wild land. You're used to a gray, blue, white sort of barren landscape. You're used to this large, just endless swath of dust and snow and rime, and rigid fields full of massive creatures that could easily take one's head off with a single swipe of their mandibles. Here, it's green. Everything is green. You arrive on these sandy shores that sort of have a subtle reminiscence of your home, but The sand upon these shores is pink, yellow, just this pleasant color, and you see little shells here and there. And up this bank, it sort of curves upward. There's grass, and beyond that, trees. You've heard tales of trees and grass, of course, but the only trees that you're familiar with are the trees of the wastes, of the deadlands, that are renowned for having the toughest and hardest wood, and also bearing a very unique thing, the larva of those bugs. I won't go into that because it's a little too creepy for this stream.
Bugs.
Bug stream. But looking at this makes you sick.
I hate it.
Yeah, you hate it. You absolutely hate it, and you sort of cringe as the sunlight peers through the trees and strikes you because you're used to you're used to this really cloudy and fogged out landscape where you can't see a mile in front of you. And here it looks like you can see however long the horizon takes you before it turns into a hill. It's discomforting. It makes you feel sick. Septimus looks up at you. Master, is there something the matter?
Nihilus does not speak very often. He uses a shorthand of like symbols that he's developed with his cadre. And I basically sign heresy has run rampant in this place.
I suppose you don't see the beauty in it. And as he finishes his sentence, Octavia backhands him.
I don't react. That's exactly what's supposed to happen.
Doing the Lord's work.
You see Decimus making his way over to sort of, because there's no dock here, obviously, so he takes a python and drives it in and ties up the boat. And he signs back to you, and he says, where do we go from here?
Lodgings, food, a place to set up shop.
He gives you a very deep bow. Octavia looks over at you. So, whilst you're on your journey and doing what you are doing, we shall see to it that you have a place to return to. I see a perfect place in the distance there. She gestures, and you see just the smallest stone precipice hanging above the trees. It looks like a tower. Oh, that is what reminds you of home. Stonework.
I gesture with my head, and I feel like Nihilus is a man of few words. He would sign onwards.
Octavia pulls Septimus to his feet. Come on, you layabout. Decimus walks over to you, and his faded, tired eyes look into yours, and he signs. What happens if we are found?
I don't specify which. I just make the generalized sign for death.
He gives you a very methodical bow, like, I understand. And they carry off into the trees towards this tower.
Yeah, I stand back to watch them go, and as they do so, I'm going to go make my way to a higher vantage point where I can take in the area around without being seen.
Would you like to make a check for that?
Could I do climb?
Yeah, climb would be perfect for this, yes.
Climb.
Give me a failure. Success. Okay.
Nice.
You use your gauntlet. You sort of like make your way up this stony precipice. You dig your gauntlet into it very roughly, and it sort of, the stone is not hard like it is at home and brittle. It's soft, like around the mountains that you come from. And you dig and you start climbing your way up it. And once you reach the top, you see something that makes your heart stop. The mountain itself. Downward and to the east. This is where the most powerful sorcerer, tethered, is said to live. You, despite all of your strengths and the small army you have behind your back, you're not sure how you're going to take on such a foe. For they are a threat to the entirety of Tethastris. And that settles in. And as you're sort of just watching this and ruminating on this, out of nowhere seems to appear Decimus, and you just sort of hear him walk up beside you. Somehow, this withered old fellow managed to get himself up this precipice. And he looks up and over at you. And he signs, Doom.
I sign back, what shape?
He makes a shape with his hands that gestures sort of triangularly, and then he smashes it on top.
I, with a harumphing sound, begin to clamber down, dropping the last 5 or so feet, and ready myself to face whatever it is that he's talking about. The man.
As you make your way back to the tower, towards the tower, not back towards, you see that your 2 other lackeys, Octavia and Septimus, are sort of hiding in the tree line as they realize that you see that there's a man standing there with a rifle, and he's pointing and he's yelling at the 2 of them. His language is understandable. It's close enough to Thethastrian to understand, and he's barking at the 2 of them. Stay the hell away from here. I don't know where the hell you came from, but you're not welcome here. And he's flailing his rifle around. To you, it's obvious he's pretty nervous.
Can I try to get the measure of this man?
Yes. I actually don't have artwork for this guy. Sorry. I know I let you guys down.
No, it's okay.
But
Not like you have drawn 4 characters plus in a week.
But this fellow's probably a jack. He's probably a lumberjack, and he's pretty built, but he's getting old, and you could take him. He doesn't even see you there, and Decimus is following close at your side.
I'm going to how does stress come back again?
Stress?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean, like from
sanity? Sorry.
You can regain it through certain activities, which we'll talk about.
Okay.
And it's going to be different in this world for obvious reasons. So
right, because you and I use it all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Stress relieving activities.
I'm going to go ahead
like
and
killing people.
Rack.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to make a contested one, and I'm going to tell you something. This guy does not have very high power. He fails. What happens?
I see my 2 comrades hiding behind the tree line, hear the man yelling, and sticking to the shadows of the underbrush, I weave my right hand in a specific number of glyphs, and there's a gurgling, rasping sound from behind the skull as I'm incanting the proper verbiage, making the right prayer. And I extend my hand towards the man, and when I snap, there's this oral hoarfrost that kind of chills the air around him. We can see rime beginning on the ground beneath his feet, and I believe that with Iraq, he is going to be suffering some mental problems as well if he does not pass his check.
I believe so. So let me roll that as well, and that'll be a sanity check. He actually did succeed on that. Surprisingly enough, this guy seems to steal him. Actually, no, he doesn't. I'm sorry. I misread that number. He sort of He's like holding his rifle, and as this rhyme starts to like enrapture his chest, he starts screaming until the ice starts to just sort of melt his jaw open to where he's just making this pitiful hissing noise. To where you can tell that it's freezing his innards, and he's just racked with pain. And you see his eyes go bloodshot and wide as he sees you, and you see this thin layer of frost come over his eyes as you start walking towards him. He is completely stunned.
I'm just gonna, in one fell swoop, shove my claw through his head and begin carrying him into the tower.
Take your fist, and this guy can't do anything. You just sink it through his face, and you see his nose and his mouth cave in, and you feel teeth just sort of shatter like ice cubes, and you start dragging him inside.
With my free hand, I sign no witnesses and have the door closed. Just to have them make sure that nobody saw that.
Decimus puts his hands together like this. It will be done.
As I bring him in, I throw him into the center of the room and begin going through his pockets. Why was this person here? Nobody was supposed to know that we were going to be here.
Through a quick sort of check, I won't have you make a skill check because it's not necessary. As you go through his stuff, you realize that this guy is probably just a local, maybe some sort of watchman. He has a strange little piece of metal, and it has text on it that you can't understand. He has that on his chest, and he has this weapon that he has. It's not like anything you've ever seen. It looks to be a rifle, but the machinery on it's nothing you've seen. You're used to muskets and stuff like that, something that you push down the barrel and load with gunpowder and what have you. These people are using weird little pieces of paper with metal tips on it, and you can see that sort of in the top of the gun. Nothing you've seen before. And you look around the place and you realize that this is a lodge, almost. It's a 2-story lodge. And the bottom seems to have communications networks, and you see this strange metal box with a bunch of knobs on it, and it's slightly lit up, and you hear it crackling like... See a little wire running off of it, and there's a little square.
Curiously, I will approach this box, and is there any like writing on it or any scrollings that I might understand?
It looks like they were just writing down time, and it's in a time that you don't understand. But as you get close to this box, you realize that it's sort of like interfering with your connections to the weave, not the weave, rather, but your tethered connection to the world. And you see a small little vial, and it looks like dust, and it's sort of stuck into this thing, like a vacuum tube.
Is there a check I can try to do to understand what it is that I'm looking at? Because I don't think Nihilus has ever seen anything like this before.
Yeah. What check would you think would be appropriate?
Investigation, probably, but I don't know.
Let me see. Honestly, this is a pretty strange check, so let's see. So this is technically a piece of technology. You have, I think electrical repair would be the most apt, honestly.
76 versus 10.
This is some sort of heathenistic device that they use to communicate with some sort of god. Should be destroyed. Take the dust for later.
Okay. Yeah, I instantly would do that. I recognize this as heresy. Take the tube out of the dust, put the cork on it, pocket that, and with my claw I smash the device.
As you're about to smash it, and it's too late before you hear, "Overseer Squad 3, come in, this is a..." And then you smash right through it, and it just shatters, and it sparks.
I look down to the body, I look to the machine, and thinking to myself, there's so many Harrys to get Draxed in this bitch.
I think that's a good introduction. So since we're about almost at the hour and a half mark, I think we can take a little break and then come back.
Sounds great. All right, don't go anywhere, anybody. We are going to take a quick 5-10 minute break, and then we will be back with more AEUS the Mountain. Yes, we can see your message, by the way, Band Reaper. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Yo.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for bearing with us. I'm gonna go turn it right back over to Red.
It Red. So, we had everybody's character introductions, of course. Some more pleasant than others. But on that note, everybody's here for a different reason, and I promise you all, you can find safety beneath the mountain. Now, the only character we had that didn't enter the city, quote unquote, was Nihilus. But that's fine, because we'll come back to that, because that's a bit of a spicy meatball. So, back to the Italian food jokes. So, let's see. We started with Ellis. Ellis, you're being escorted into town. It's just an average day. You see people going about their business, and the way that the mountain looks is that there's sort of there's homes built into the stonework, but there's steps that lead up, and there's businesses that stack on top of each other in sort of like a stair-like fashion. You could imagine a giant would have a great time walking up these stairs, but no such giant exists. You hope. It's the city makes you uncomfortable because just how many people there are. There's tens of thousands of people in this city, and you're used to living a life of solitude where there's no people at all. Now you're bumping shoulders with everybody. Excuse me, and everybody's giving you weird looks for walking around with this overseer.
I'm just gonna keep my head low and try to not draw any more attention to myself.
Excellent. So you're brought to a larger stone building. Like I said, a lot of these buildings are carved out of the stone. Some of them are just actually wood and what have you, but the older buildings are definitely carved out of the mountain itself. Inside of this building is what appears to be some sort of like office area, and you realize that you are in the headquarters of the overseers. Now, this is where people come to be locked up and put in jail for a period of time. There is no capital punishment, as it were. No matter what your crime is, you still have a use in the mountain. And funnily enough, even some of the worst criminals that have ever existed have come back from that. They murderers, killers, some of the most literal treason, traitors, people that have tried to commit treason, stuff like that. They've come back and they've helped build the mountain, and that's the story you've always been told. But this station is empty. There's nobody in the cells. It's not very big. There's 6 cells, but this fellow Hank, he he goes and plops down at a chair behind this counter. All right, Miss Ellis. I'll reshow Hank for everybody to enjoy. He crosses his arms and leans back, and you hear the chair creak ominously. We need to figure something out. Your taxes that you said to have paid, we never received them. And the fact that you cannot pay them now is difficult.
You brought me all this way to say that?
Well, no. Problem is, I'm going to have to put you on community service until you can pay what you owe.
Feel like I already do enough for the community, what with keeping the forest safe and whatnot.
Well, you see, I don't really have a say in this. While you may think, and others may think, I think, that you do a good job keeping the forest clean, that ain't enough for some of us.
So what would be enough?
Well, he sort of stammers as he picks up a couple of papers, and all this paper is like yellow because it's homemade paper. There's no giant printing press. It's all homemade stuff. And he's flipping through it, and you see this big, burly, mean-looking woman walk up and looks between you, Ellis, and Hank here. Haha, I'm reusing art because I'm a hack!
Yeah! No, dude, it's awesome. I love that art. Show that off.
So, you don't quite recognize this woman, but the uniform, the garb that she's wearing, definitely denotes her. My glasses fell. Keeping them off. Denotes her as a higher up official, and then you realize she has a little gold piece of metal on her garb. She's the captain of the overseers. She is the head honcho, quote unquote. She's the one who directly answers to the mountain himself. And she looks at you. She squints. Are you that wild woman?
It's a little bit rude, but yeah, I suppose I am.
She looks over to Hank. What the hell you do bringing her all the way here? Well, ma'am, she hasn't paid her taxes. This captain's gonna look at.
I did. I sent them.
But they was never received.
This
woman just shakes
maybe
her head.
y'all can ask the post office where the money is and get it from them.
This woman puts a hand on Hank's shoulder like, go away. And he gets up and walks off. Goes outside like, well, I didn't do nothing wrong. And this woman sits down on the in the chair that he was sitting in previously and looks up at you. How tall is Alice, by the way?
Probably about 5'6", 5'7".
So pretty average. This woman's about 5'11". She's taller than most, but you could tell she's seen a lot of trouble. she plops down, and you notice that she's not carrying a firearm. Apparently, she thinks she doesn't need one. So he brought you all the way out here just to tell you didn't pay your taxes.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering why that is myself.
Well, that ain't the truth at all. See, your master, your mentor, that used to be the wild man, he accrued some debt in his time.
What does that have to do with me?
It defaults to you.
I'm not his kin.
But you are the only person that he sort of knew. So it shall default.
By me knowing him, I somehow acquire his debt.
She's gonna reach into a desk drawer and flip through a few things very meticulously. She's gonna pull out a file, set it down, and open it up. And it has... I'm sorry, what's the name of your master again?
I didn't come up with one.
Oh, you didn't come up with one?
Just George.
George is fine. Mm-hmm. You see, old George put your name down on his papers for next of kin.
Bastard.
Didn't have any kids, didn't have any family. Nobody really knew where he came from. He just came here and started working. And you are taking up his debt.
After all I did for him. Son of a bitch. Okay.
Only two things in life are certain.
Both endearing and frustrating. How much is this debt?
Do you want that in a total of currency or days I would be having you work?
I guess days, because I'm a little cash poor at the moment.
She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a pair of spectacles and affixes them. And picks up the paper and starts reading. 536.
Surely you're joking.
She's gonna
Please tell me you're joking.
Turn around, push it over to you, and you see the number, and it looks like there's a lot of math done on this paper and things being added up over time.
What the hell was this man buying? How was this debt acquired?
He didn't pay his taxes.
Son of a bitch.
And he kept taking loans out to pay said taxes and never paid them back. So you're the one that's meant to take up his workload. But lucky for you, I pity you. I feel bad. So, tell you what, I got a job for you.
Oh, go on.
Well, I don't have a job for you. The mountain has a job for you.
Oh, let's see. I'm hesitant to ask, but what does this job entail?
I don't know. I'm gonna take you to him later this evening. If you go missing, it's gonna be a lot of trouble, but I trust you, girl.
Okay. This is not what I anticipated. I thought I was coming here to pay taxes. Okay.
You're paying a debt, so it is sort of paying taxes. Can you turn over your firearms?
You can have this one, I say, taking my elephant gun and placing it on the table.
She'd look at it. She'd look up at you. You know, this is technically an illegal weapon.
Double jeopardy? I'm already in debt. You can't punish me any more than I already am.
All I'd be able to do is add a week onto your sentence, and there's no point of doing that.
Exactly. We're on the same page here.
I'm gonna keep this here until you come back as a form of insurance for us both. Because I know this weapon means a lot to you, and I know it meant a lot to George.
Yeah, kind of wish he sold it instead of giving it to me now.
Well, it ain't worth nothing now, she'd say. She sort of just like got up and went and stowed it in a locker.
All right, I guess let's go see the mountain.
Okay.
I say nervously.
All right, so Jihan, Nikolai,
Hello.
what are you doing in your frustrations of having to turn over your last bit of food money?
I'm going to the local pawn shop.
Sure, there's a few traders and grifters.
I'm gonna go take my flux capacitor.
No, you're not. You time traveling bastard.
All right. I'm gonna roll spot hidden for something in the shop.
See if you find anything worthwhile in the shop.
to make the month's rent.
God.
Damn capitalism! It followed me to AEUS.
A barter economy is sadly still an economy.
Roll spot hidden for me, man. Oh, there we go.
There it is. Yep.
I was waiting for Derek to get angry. Like looking over, like he's gonna be like, "Fuck, man." You find a pretty valuable engine part, something that you could probably hook up to a combustion engine and give it to a farmer or something. It's probably worth enough to cover at least most of rent.
All right, Nikolai is gonna heft it and take it to be sold off.
So, why don't you make a luck roll for me? See if you can find the appropriate buyer.
Thank you, Naris.
Oh, re-stretching. Oh. Okay, another success. A hard one this time. Almost immediately, you find somebody willing to give you dust for this item, and they look you up and down. Do I know you?
You know me, or you may know my father.
Your father was...
Nikolai the First.
Ah, Junior. Okay. Well, I heard your father was having some trouble with this this gang.
Oh yeah, the big stone. This man. I'm getting tired of his business and with my business.
We're all getting tired of it. Don't speak too loud on it. Now, what I recommend you do is you go talk to the overseers about it. Your father was too scared to do that, but why not now? Man doesn't really have much reputation anymore. I'm sure you could take him down a few pegs.
The overseer. You may
Talk to
be
the
right.
overseers.
You may be right.
Now, You seem like a capable man. You look tough. Tougher stuff, at least. Your father was a bit weak, small, but you didn't inherit that. You could be a hero around here. If you clean out this gang.
I do have a bone to pick with them.
How about it then? It says he passed you the dust and takes the engine part.
Can I do insight check on this guy?
Sure.
Is there insight?
I think a listen would be appropriate.
Oh crap! I didn't take a listen.
Let's see what you get.
Your ears got all banged up in the shop.
You still
Yeah,
rolled really well despite having a failure.
First time.
This guy just seems like a regular old trader. He doesn't really have anything to gain.
Well, what do I have to do?
I reckon you just talk to him and you can figure some things out. The overseers are cracking down on this gang activity, understand?
All right, I'll see them.
That's smart. So, Mikolai, as you're walking, you see a very prominent-looking woman escorting a somewhat smaller woman along as they're heading up an incline towards where the mountain is seated. And you realize that this woman escorting this other woman is none other than the captain of the overseers. Probably the best possible person you could talk to about a scenario like this.
Would Mikolai know the captain on a personal name to name?
Make a luck roll.
Okay.
I love luck.
Such a good stat.
Well, of course. You know Tilly.
He's back.
No, he's back. He had one failure, now he's back. So, you know, most people would never dare to call Captain Booker Tilly, but you've known her since you were a kid. So, she's very friendly with you, was very friendly with your father. But you wonder, it makes you wonder, if she was so friendly with your father, how come she never did anything about this gang-related issue? And then it occurs to you, he probably never talked about it. Your father wasn't the type to accept handouts. But yeah, you know Tilly. If anybody else would have called her Tilly, they get their head bludgeoned, but you can get away with it.
All right, I call out to her. Tilly, it's me, Mikolai. She
looks over, giving Alice the perfect opportunity to run. No, I'm kidding.
Pretty sure they just find me, so I'm gonna stay put.
Smart. Well, if it isn't Mikolai. What do you want, boy? Come in.
Hey, you never come around my shop anymore. What's going on?
I've been busy, understand. There's a lot of weird things going on lately. People not paying their taxes, people owing debts. She's gonna look over at Alice. The Eldritch Monster. Sorry, I saw a cat enter the frame. That's cute as hell.
I'm gonna level with you. I have a problem at the shop.
Yeah? You're not getting your parts shipped in? Or?
There's a gang, the Stone Gang. They keep coming and taking my money. And
a bunch of people stop.
What can I do?
When they hear you talking to this woman in this way, talking about a gang, they're all just sort of staring. There's like a good group, about a score or so of people just staring at this happenstance. They drop what they're doing, whatever they're working on, be it like repairing something or selling something. They're all just turning to look at this strange situation happening.
I don't want to close the shop, Tilly, but these people are forcing my hand. What can I do?
She purses her lips and looks around, and everybody's looking at her expectantly, like, you better fucking do something about this.
My father, he didn't want to tell you, but me, I'm on my last leg. You must do something.
She purses her lips and shakes her head. Junior, all I can do is take you to the mountain and hope he has something to say about it. I got my hands full right now. I don't want to see you falter. And your father was a good man, but I don't know what kind of trouble he got himself into, understand?
I will see this mountain. Can you take me to him?
She would nod. And so, stoneworker, you're entering town and seeing this bit of a what's the term I'm looking for?
Kerfluffle.
I was gonna say Tathastrian standoff. You're a bit perplexed, confused, and you're just like, what in the hell is going on here? Is this some sort of public trial?
So he literally just sort of looks at it from a distance. He's literally aping my movements. So just like finger on chin, scratching at the curly beard that he's got. Yeah. Well, he's got a chance as any to practice. And he's gonna slowly walk forward. And as he does, the dust rises up behind him and slowly falls down unnaturally slow as he does. And so I'm seeing everything going on right now with our friends here.
Yeah,
with Nikolai and all right.
I'm not a JoJo's guy, but I imagine that like that comic panel where he's like stepping up.
Oh, you're
Just stepping up backwards. The stand over my shoulder. Yeah, no. The world. No, as he starts getting closer, he what the hell is this? As he gets like probably close enough to see see Nikolai, and I imagine I can catch enough of you literally begging her to do something.
Yeah, and one little mousy man looks over at you, and he looks like a prospector because he has like a big sack over his shoulder and a bunch of like panning equipment and stuff like that. Whew, that there's a tethered! And everybody's like, tethered! And everybody starts pulling their guns. Like every single person in the street, no matter how old or young they are, they all pull a weapon and aim it at you.
He literally is hands in his cloak and just sort of why is it that no matter where I go, people still haven't learned to not draw guns untethered? And he slowly looks around. If I was here to kill you, you'd be dead. Now I ask.
Now, listen here, partner. We don't truck with no tethered, understand? You can just leave and we won't have no trouble now.
He literally points to the mountain. I'm sorry. You want to say that again? Or did your mountain just come pre-broken? No, you don't mind tethered. You just like when they work for you. Now I asked a question. What the hell is going on here?
Your commanding, dare I say, stony presence sort of draws the attention of the captain, obviously, and she looks over at you. And even though Alice is technically a criminal, she's going to step in front of Alice, willing to defend this person. State your name and your business. I don't have time for this.
Why does no one ever answer questions when asked? I am the stoneworker. I'm here from the south. I'm just passing through to find a city. And it seems all I can find is angry farmers, cities or places with no walls, and whatever the hell this is. I just want to know what's going on. I guess. He breathes in, and the next words sound like they pain him to say. To see if I can help.
The captain of the guard looks around at everybody, these 20-odd-some people that have like all different varieties of firearms. Some of them shotguns, some of them rifles that had the butt cut off of them, pistols. anything from a 32 to a 30-06, just giant weapons. And she just raises her hand and gestures like that, and everybody seems to just know. They all put their weapons away. Fine. Then I reckon that you should talk to the mountain. We have bad experience with Tethered, and the mountain isn't just a simple tethered. He's a living god. Everybody knows that. And you're not from here, so you wouldn't know that. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But if any trouble were to be caused beneath his mountains, it'd all come crumbling down on you.
Believe it or not, I've already heard this. And if I get a chance to speak to the man, then that sounds fine to me. Wasn't my plan, but sure, that works just fine.
I'm gathering up a posse anyway. Come on, you three. And now you start proceeding back up and towards this grand opening in this mountain. It looks to be a lair.
Before we fully get away, the stoneworker's going to turn around and sort of crouch down to the panner's level to sort of, next time you draw that gun, you're eating it. And he walks away.
I've eaten rocks bigger than you!
You can see that he's probably eating rocks because his teeth are all chipped.
Yeah, that's fair.
He fixes his hat like harumph, and you start carrying. This guy couldn't be any taller than 5 foot.
Literally chair height to me.
Yeah. Could sit on him and kill him. So you start making your way back up towards the cave, and to your chagrin, there's another interruption. A man with a with glasses with tape on them, because obviously they've gotten broken once or twice. He's sort of a nerdy looking fellow. Runs up to the captain. Captain, we got a very, very serious problem. And she just gestures to the 3 people that are like following her along, like, yeah, we do. What is it now? We've lost communications with them, Ranger number 3. Well, then send a team out to investigate it. I ain't got time for this. Go. And he sort of bows his head and goes skittering off towards another building. And you notice a building that he's skittering off towards has a sort of antenna-like structure on top of it. Now, Alice, you know what it does. You don't understand it because you've lived here, so you understand what radios are. Stonemason. Or stoneworker, excuse me. Your father was stonemason. So, would you like to make some sort of check to see if you actually know what a radio is?
Yes, actually.
Because Glaswall isn't like primitive, but they certainly don't have tech like this usually.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. The Glacier definitely sees to that. But he did train under him, so he's decently and well enough educated.
Any check you can think of that would be appropriate.
Okay. Would education work?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
You know what this is. You've heard people talk about them, but they don't really work where you're from. Somehow they've managed to get these radio systems, which allow for two-way communication from long distances with an invisible thing, allows it to work. So you can only imagine how far away this Ranger 3 was.
Right.
But as you pass this radio station, you feel like a weird sort of like uncomfortable feeling in your chest. Like you feel like the physical static of the radio as you pass, and then it goes away.
Heck. Figures.
Are you that primitive? You've never seen a radio before?
We don't use them where I come from. Dust makes it a little difficult. On top of that, it hurts. Thank you very much.
Eccentric. She'd nod. And let's hop over to see what Nihilus is up to. They've sort of made themselves like a Power Rangers villain. They have their own domain now. And they're just sort of taking over.
Make my monster grow.
Mhm.
Animate the tower.
Yeah,
So,
so
what are you doing?
we've been setting up shop. Come to spread the good word. I have been kind of cleaning up whatever misbegotten bounties that might have existed on this side of the mountain. Any ne'er-do-wells or troublemakers that have broken the law and earned a death sentence, I have made short work of them and turned them in for the coin, which was then gathered, and we probably are just seeing off the first season's earnings, sending the ship with our coin.
Yeah, so you've been here for a while. So you're just, driving yourself in currency and stuff to send back home. And it doesn't occur to you anything about that radio, but you see a group of people approaching. And it's a group of 5. It's a posse. They all have weapons. They don't seem like pushovers either. These people seem like armored and well-equipped people. These weapons, you have no idea what they're capable of, but they look powerful. One of them has a tube thing sitting over his shoulder.
Do they have any kind of heraldry on them or anything that would mark them as, like, made men?
You see silvery little buttons, badges on each of their chests. Some of them have them on their shoulders or their arms, but you can tell that these people are official wherever they're from. Probably from the mountain, you can instantly assume. And Decimus sees these people and he gestures like, what should we do?
I make the hand signal, Septimus, find out what they want.
Septimus like looks between you and the people outside. It's just like, they might kill us.
Go get Octavia.
I'll go. And he opens up the door and skitters outside, and you hear a very commanding voice start yelling at him as they all raise their weapons towards the guy. And you see Septimus very, very meekly raise his hands like, I don't want any trouble. Listen here. We've been getting reports that we lost Ranger Squad 3 about a week ago. Haven't heard anything from them. Who the fuck are you? And Septimus puts his hands up and he like looks back, almost expecting one of the you to say something. We are from the land across the sea.
I come out with a big book in my one hand, like a big thick, I guess it would be some kind of like whale-bound hide that they're used to making books from, because far in the north, there's not going to be very many kinds of creatures for us to hunt and eat. And as I approach, I like stop in front, like maybe like a few paces away from the intruder. My gauntlet is currently off because Septimus was tending to it, and I simply hand over the book with like my thumb in a page. When he opens it, it would reveal that we've been cleaning up the fucking streets up here.
You'd see Septimus quickly reading through it, and all of these people had their guns trained on both of you. Even the person with the big tube. We have been rather busy claiming unclaimed bounties upon the heads that you have marked in your lands. There is no crime in such an effort, for we believe bounty hunting functions the same way in our homes that it does here. And the big mean-looking motherfucker with like the giant mustache and the sunglasses and the hat, desperado hat, lowers his weapon, but none of his other squad members do. So let me get this straight. You come over here desperate for money, so you start hunting our heads.
I shake my head slowly.
No.
I what's the word? Clutch my right hand and look upward, pointing to my tether.
The fellow with the mustache doesn't even need a translations for that. You can tell, even beneath the sunglasses, he's looking up at it. And he looks back down and he scorns. Tethered.
It's at this point that I would like very subtly gesture behind my back for Octavia, the person that I have been like holding in my back pocket this whole time. Much better with words to come out.
She steps out and she seems to have a bunch of stuff written down in her own journal. Our lord here, Nihilus, has come here to pay alms to our people back home. Now, if you choose to get in his way, you may well end up like the other heads that we have so claimed. No, listen here. We don't want any trouble in that regard. We need somebody like you, actually. As much as I hate to admit it, we got a big problem brewing out east. And, as brutal as you seem, we could use your help. The mountain could use your help.
There's like a tensing sound from like the hides that I'm wearing as like my body goes rigid, and I look very slowly from Octavia to the guy who's speaking when he says the mountain needs your help. Familiar at this point with who that is during my time here, and behind my wrappings, my butchered mouth kind of smiles. I reach over for the book, I grab it, and I flip to a blank page before handing it to the man.
Who are you handing it to? You're handing it to the mustache fellow?
Mm-hmm.
With his gun and sort of like idle at one side, he's going to reach out and take the book and look at it.
Octavia would hand him a pen at this point.
He would let his rifle just sort of drop and sling over his shoulders. What am I writing here?
I sign to Octavia Blood Alms.
So what exactly are you wanting?
I'm indicating that they're paying me for this. They're hiring me.
You'll be paid. Don't you worry. He'll scratch his name down, because that's a custom that they do here, is they sign their name. That's up to you to decide that if his signature is even worth a damn.
I just need to know who to come after.
That's not for me to disclose. That's for the mountain to disclose, and we need you in the city, and you need to have conference with him. Now.
I look to my scions. I gesture for Septimus, like, gauntlet to go grab my stuff, and yeah, we get ready and we pack up what we need to. The small task force that like tends to our place and looks after the stuff that we can't bring with us is obviously going to stay behind.
As your servants are sort of moving around inside, like I said, the rest of these fellows did not relent on their weapons. They just sort of look at you. Now, you're only going to be able to take one of them with you. I don't want no trouble. And in his age, he's getting a little jumpy. You can take one. That's it.
I sign for Octavia. This is exactly what I have her for.
As you wish. He just crosses his arms while the rest of his squad sort of just eye you. And Nihilus, you see one of them that has these strange little like fruit-shaped metal objects on a belt across their chest.
I don't know. Why do I need to roll to recognize a grenade?
Bullshit me. Give me a check that you think would be appropriate.
I'm gonna be really low at it, but probably mechanical repair.
That'd be fine, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Some sort of metal fruit. Perhaps the people eat weird things around here.
Ooh, I'm gonna hold on to that D10. Thank you, Drabs. Thank you so much. I'm gonna need a bit more than 10 to pass that one.
I totally forgot, folks. You can use channel points now to pay 500 and give a D10. You can choose whether to subtract that from a roll, which is good, or add that to a roll if you want something bad to happen. And you can pay 2K to just completely give a reroll. The reason it's expensive is you know why it's expensive. We don't want outcomes to change too much. But yeah, keep
Pocket
that in mind. That's
that
what
for
you can use
later.
with your points. Hell yeah, 1D10 for later. So you get everything packed up and ready to go. As this squad of now Nihilus, you're a pretty scary figure. You know that you're strong. Like, you know that you're a powerful person. You can literally drive somebody to their knees in the snap of your fingers. Literally. But these people scare you. They're not tethered. They don't rely on dust or any sort of tethered magics, as you can see. These people are completely living off of the land, and they've manufactured their own firearms. They're terrifying. And you have no idea what awaits you in the mountain itself. But you're intimidated. You figure that these would just be a bunch of nomads, waste nomads, like the ones that collect lightning. But no, these people live off the land. And that's scary, that they have a land to live off of.
This place sucks.
Because you're used to you're used to fighting against the land. These people are thriving in it. And Octavia comes out and sees the book and looks over at you and gives you a sort of gesture with her head, like, are you sure you want me to be the one that goes with you?
Well, if I bring Decimus, he can't talk. Septimus is good at looking after my gear and equipment.
You could always sneak him along.
I think I'm gonna try to sneak him along. Yeah, let me do that.
Okay. So I'm assuming you're gonna see Decimus sort of standing nearby with his bony fingers sort of knit together, just waiting for orders.
Shroud yourselves. Come under night.
As you wish. And the two of them retreat inside and close the door. Right. Now that everything's settled, let's get moving. It's going to be dark within the next few hours. And if we're lucky, we can get back there in time.
Yeah, we go.
And as you're marching, they're sort of marching in a like the number 5 on a D6. Sort of one here, one here, one here, one here, and then the commander at the center, and you're sort of in the center of that. And this commander, quote unquote, captain, you could probably figure he is, looks over at you. I don't understand you, and I don't understand where you're from, but you seem ruthless.
I don't think that Nihilus would deign to respond to that. He would just keep looking ahead.
I know you killed Ranger Team 3. Ranger Team 3 must have been a single person because that's all you killed in that tower. I'm willing to forgive that if you help out. If you don't, we'll put you in a line and gun you down with your lackeys. And I know you don't like talking much because you got a mouthpiece. But know this. If you fuck anything else up, I'll kill you myself.
I finally look at him.
Or not.
I finally look at him. And this is the first time that I've actually looked him in the eyes, other than just to make sure that he wasn't gonna snap his fingers and turn me to dust. But this is the first time I look him in his eye, and there's just these two smoldering orbs of this red orange just moldering at him when he threatens me, almost like I wish you'd try.
He actually doesn't look deterred. This guy's made of tougher stuff. And you notice that He has a bunch of notches in his gun. And he grabs it by the carrying handle and pretty much puts it in your face. See these? That's how many people I've killed of your kind. And I'll do it again. And again. And he lowers it and just sort of keeps walking like he didn't say anything.
I don't miss a beat. This is not the first time my life has been threatened. And by folks far scarier than him.
So, Trav said, I like the fur coat you have, Omni.
Oh, why, thank you.
I like
It's
it
actually
too.
extremely warm right now.
You look like Jon Snow. Let's see here. So I need the glasses off for a second so I can read. So this is how we will end up back in the palace. Oh my god, I just opened Omni's character sheet and I just saw the longest bit of lore.
I warned you, I was writing my bio. I was not kidding. I didn't need to go extra,
Jesus.
but damn, I did.
Okay.
I will reuse that character in the future if we don't use it all here.
So now we probably will. This is going to be a long one. Longer than the Call of Cthulhu previous one. So now all of you, except for Nihilus at the moment, are before the mountain. You don't see the man yet because the lights are dim and they haven't quite struck up any candles yet. But as you walk into the room, you see a bunch of guardsmen that are just completely dressed, covered head to toe in cloth, and they have just the slightest amount of red in their clothing. It's very faded, and you see them strike up candles, and they start lighting all these candelabras. And the captain looks like she's used to this. How's everybody else faring? Because not a single one of you have ever been before the mountain before.
I am going to quickly mention that Drabs just threw me a D10 for the cloak, which is kind of nice.
Hell yeah.
But honestly, the stoneworker has that sour look on his face, a little bit even like more intense than usual. Not that anyone knows what his usual is right now. He looks particularly unhappy. This is not how he wanted to spend his first day anywhere near the mountain, but fuck it. Basically.
Ellis, Nikolai, how are you feeling?
Would Mikolai, being a resident of the mountain, have good thoughts about the mountain?
He's protected this place for his entire existence. And as far as you know, this guy is literally just a living god. So,
Right.
yeah, you have pretty positive opinions of you. You've never been raided by bandits or anything. There's street gangs, sure, but there's no, raiding bandits ever coming into town, taking people, making slaves or anything like that. No. So you have a fond opinion of him. He's a good person, as far as you know, or good whatever he is.
Mikolai is just going to scrunch his face,
Pretty big deal.
Oh. Ellis, on the other hand, is just kind of like, shouldn't be here. I'm not cut out for this. How did I end up in this situation? Oh gosh.
Yeah, Ellis, you went from just being a simple green warden, as it were, to be standing before a god.
I'm just trying to fix my hair. Just okay, I'm fine.
I want to look good for God.
Presentable, it's a kind of a big deal meeting a god for the first time.
Literally maker.
I'm kind of like some housewife meeting the president or something. Just what do I do?
Hello, Mr. President. I mean, Mountain. Sorry. So, okay. And as the lights sort of come on, you see this figure, and it's not quite what you expect. Whatever you were expecting, it's not what you see. Actually, the only person that's seen this art is Derek. So that's actually very appropriate that his character's not quite here yet. So, before you sits a man. A regular-looking fellow, except for one half of his body is withering away. It's falling apart. It's old, and sticking out of it are a large amount of tubes, and you can see something constantly flowing through them in the flicker of the candlelight, back towards behind this decent-sized stone chair. And then you realize this chair isn't even very big. It's any of you could sit in it. But this fellow sits with his fingers clasped around an arm of this chair, and you realize that it's metal, and it swoops up over and over like a gauntlet. And stoneworker, you feel a great headache, like somebody just inserted a large piece of round metal into your head in the direction of where this fellow sits. Legends are true. This guy is no regular tethered. You feel a certain presence when you're around tethered, but not
Right.
this splitting headache. And no matter which way you look, the headache moves with the man. This is the mountain.
That tracks. At least I know it's true. God. He's gonna grab a handful of like medicinal herbs from his pack, put them in his mouth, start chewing them, sort of help mitigate the headache a little bit. Tastes like crap.
And the mountain just sort of looks at you. Doesn't seem bored, but he's sort of leaning on his withered arm, and you see it sort of shift. The wrinkled and dead skin sort of shifts around as he moves. And you see the tubes sort of react as well. Why are you before me?
He points to himself, literally, me.
The captain goes to speak, and he just sort of gestures very lightly. And everybody in the room, except for the guards, there's a few people that are waiting to meet with the mountain, and they sort of twitch as he moves his hand just slightly. The guards, all of these guards wearing these faded red cloaks and what have you, they don't twitch. They're holding pikes. There's about 8 of them, 4 on either side, in sort of like a diagonal direction around this throne that's mounted upon a dais. But one thing you note is that none of you can see this tether, except for the stoneworker. It's like there's sunlight piercing through in a straight line all the way up into the ceiling, and it is blinding. He is not only tethered, he is attached to this world and something above it.
Ooh.
And the captain sort of steps aside and puts her hands behind her back and lets you speak. And the mountain did not specify which of you should speak first. So it's your call.
Ellis is still slightly flustered and probably a little bit speechless.
I think Mikolai would go first. I was told you can help me. I have a problem. In the city, there's a gang that's been ravaging my business. Been operating the city for many years, but it's getting worse by the month.
He nods very slowly. He's very stiff, stone-like. And he draws in a breath, you only notice one side of his face tense up. The other side is just sort of slack and sullen and tired. You come to me asking for help for a gang.
They operate in your city.
I shall help you if you help me.
I understand. Give and take is my business.
Very well. You two, speak.
Stoneworker turns to he turns to Alice, just sort of.
Your Grace, sir, your Honor, we were sent here to, I'm honestly not quite sure. I have some debt to pay off, I'm sorry. I was told I could work it off, and you could tell me how?
He sits, just watches you stammer.
I probably quickly avert my eyes after talking, just like, oh gosh, I just talked to a god.
He sort of just gestures with his hand. Your debt shall be paid in full. You, like this man, shall assist me. Now, what of this tethered? Why is he here?
I don't know him. I've never met him before. I came here alone.
This tethered has a name. I'm the stoneworker. He looks around at all the pikes. I have to admit, that's a hell of a thing. And he just looks up at the tethered, knowing there's only one other person in the room who could probably see it, the actual tether that you have. I'm here from Glasgow. Not on official business. Not the glazier's messenger today. He told me to temper myself in the waste, and in the wild and wherever I can find challenge. At some point, maybe I might be allowed back. So, I came into town thinking I would only be here for an evening and continue walking. And then I saw, and he gestures towards, he gestures towards Mikolai, him, begging for help. I figured, why not start small? It's as simple as that, Mountain.
You actually see him move a little bit in his chair, and people behind you gasp, and even the captain sort of tenses up just a little bit as he sort of sits backward. You come to me on pilgrimage from Glasgow because the weakling Glacier wishes you to be here.
Not here. I just heard stories. Figured I would choose my path.
You are brave, perhaps foolish, but brave. Very well. But I shall show you the errors of Glasgow, and you shall become a son of the mountain. In time, though you may not believe it.
He sort of like licks one of his teeth in that gesture of, okay, sure. Like it's not quite biting his teeth down on his lip, but sort of a, I'll tolerate this because literally this guy could probably shrug and turn me into a crater. Okay. That sounds fair. Thank you.
As you sort of conclude the intro to his conversation, the doors open, and in walks through a group of 5 rangers, and before them is a very daunting-looking fellow and stoneworker. You have a feeling in the back of your head there's another
Yep.
tether that has just entered this room. Your head is being pressed like a vice. And everybody looks to see this fellow is traveling with a woman in robes, and she looks a bit official. She has spectacles upon her nose and a book in her hand, and she's looking around. She's taking notes, very in a very calculated manner. And the rangers, the people standing around the rangers, they sort of bow their heads to them, and the fellow with the mustache steps forward. And he gestures and bows his head very deeply in respect to the mountain. Sir, I have brought to you somebody that could help you with the problem in Watershed. I could feel their presence when they entered my city. Step forward, child of Tethastris.
I do so.
That makes the stoneworker sneer, by the way, the second you say the word Tethastris.
Everybody in the room sort of cringes, like, Tethastris. No, but not cringes in disgust, but yeah, fear almost, because Tethastris is an isolated nation. Why would they have anything to do with the mountain? And as you step forward, the mountain is sort of stoic as he is. You see the working part of his face sort of sneer. I sense a great evil in you, a darkness. Why have you come?
I sign to Octavia to tell the man, and I definitely say tell the man in sign, as a form of worship.
She looks up. Speaking to you as a mortal, which is what you are, we come here as a form of worship. The mountain looks unchanged. He just doesn't seem very surprised by the poor choice of words. Very well. Then you shall help. Nobody lives on my land for free, regardless of the circumstances.
I'm just deadpanning him.
He's looking deep into your eyes, and then the fact that even with his, particularly with his dead eye that has this sort of silvery haze over it, you feel your mind start to rack. Like it's like when you pass that radio station on the way, and it's the same feeling, but it's sort of like clouding your mind to the extent that you can only focus on him. So he's exerting some sort of influence over you.
I dig deep into the well of hate within me and try and convey just how much I think he deserves to not exist in my thoughts. I begin chanting scripture in my head.
He just looks at you. Make a sanity check.
I can do that.
Let's roll.
Oof. Do I use that bonus die? No, I would need a 9.
What do you think?
Can I push myself and use a sanity die?
Yeah, but the effects are going to be significantly more detrimental if you fail.
Okay, so let's see. Math is 5.5 on 2d10s. I'm going to take it. That's 4 and 9. That's 13. That's a total of 59.
Oh, pushing yourself would be re-rolling.
Pushing myself would be re-rolling. Oh, I see now.
I'll let you add the 4 to that.
Okay, well let's do it.
Nice.
You succeed. You only take 3 points of sanity damage.
Yay! That's way less than it would have been.
And you could feel that was just a pinch. You steel yourself, and weirdly enough, he nods a little, like he approves of your resilience. You shall assist in Watershed, and you shall continue your blood alms as you wish. You may even receive payments.
I incline my head very sharply and then move to make my way. I walk in front of everybody and then make my way to the end of the line to stand in line with everyone else.
It seems that you all are here for the same reasons. You all require something of me, be it material or fickle, fiscal, superficial. Regardless, for your service to me, I shall repay it to you. In Watershed, there be tethered. Dangerous tethered. They are threatening the very sanctity of this land. and I shall no longer exist in a place where people cannot find safety beneath the mountain. They must be eliminated. If you fail, you are failing an entire nation. So there is no option other than to succeed. Now go.
The stoneworker turns around on his heel and walks steadily towards the door, not waiting for anyone else to guide him out.
The captain sort of looks to the rest of you, and she bows to the mountain and gestures for the rest of you to leave in a hurry.
Wallace glances at everyone and sees that, is it Machias? How is it pronounced, Jihan? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, it's Mikolai.
Sorry, Nikolai. You look like the most normal out of the group, so I kind of follow you out.
Not Conan the Barbarian or Skeletor here.
Skeletor is scary. He has a servant following him around. He's obviously very official.
Mm-hmm.
And the captain stands with a lot of you outside, and you see that mustached ranger just sort of leaning against the frame as you're the blinding brightness of the sunlight cripples your eyes for just a moment as you adjust. And these two official-looking fellows are standing, waiting. The ranger with his gun and the captain with their arms crossed.
So,
that went well.
Tethered?
Well, the ranger seems to speak up first. I've been hearing about tethered activity to the east for a while now. Didn't realize it got this bad. But since two of you are those things, I think we'll have a bit more of an even fight. And for your sake, I hope that this girl and this fella can handle themselves.
I might need my gun back in order to do that.
That'll be done. He looks over to the captain, and the captain's like, well, yeah, of course. I'll give you directions and a map. That's all you get. From there, you're on your own. If you fail, don't come back. If you do come back, there's a pain far worse than death waiting for you. The wrath of the mountain is not spared. For no one. I pity you. He'd nod and he starts walking off.
Real tired of being looked down my nose by people who just seem to think they're better because they didn't get the dumb luck of having the sky touch them. Looks down over at you two. So, gunslinger, as he looks at you, Ellis, and then over to Mikolai. Can you even fight?
He's gonna pull his shotgun out. I've had a few battles in my time.
Clear an answer as any. He looks up to you, Nihilus, and just sort of... And if you can't fight, I have no idea why the fuck you're wearing a skull, so I'm not even gonna ask.
Of course he can fight, you ignoramus. You dress like you're from the south.
I am Tefestrian.
Ah, yes, the kind that eat rocks.
Turns and looks. Yeah, well, at least rocks don't scream when you bite them.
There's this wet sucking sound coming from behind the skull that I would...
Octavia's gonna look up at Nihilus like, can you believe the nerve of this guy?
I turn up
I'm
my
assuming
nose at him.
Nihilus is pretty big.
Ellis just slowly kind of moves even further away from Nihilus. Just like, I'm just gonna stretch a little and shimmy over this way.
I ate her
Fucking
liver.
weird ass demigods feuding 5 feet from me. What the shit?
I ate her liver with some shoddy and some fava beans.
Yeah.
This
Fine. Doesn't really change much for me, honestly. Starts walking down after the 2 guards.
The captain's gonna look over to Ellis. She's gonna give you a nod, like, "You're fucked," and she's gonna give a look of pity over to Mikolai, like, I don't want this kid to die, but the mountain decreed it. So she's gonna lead all of you back down to the station. And Tethered, oh, you're getting some sinister and sour looks. And you see that Nihilus, you see this small man, couldn't be any taller than 5 feet, and he's got broken teeth and a hat on his head, and he looks at you, and he's just like,
I just turn my gaze on him for a moment, blink, and look away.
I'm getting real sick of these tethered.
and you're led back to the station. Sorry, Alice, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I look at the man and mouth. I don't know these people.
and he just sort of takes
Please
his hat,
don't
like,
kill me.
he like closes his mouth and like tilts his head, like, hello.
Hi.
Mikolai is like in his mind, Father, I'm gonna save the shop.
It's romantic. Not in that sense, but romantic
Idealistic.
kind of storytelling. Yeah.
Romantic ideals.
Yeah. So you're led back to this sort of to this building, to the security building, the overseer's place. You're given back your giant gun. Does anybody have any reactions to this girl carrying around a gun that's taller than her?
Mikolai is gonna fangirl over it. I know this model. It's a beauty.
Please don't touch. It's very delicate.
I can probably enhance it, fix it, repair it, oil it.
Oh no, it's okay. I got it. I don't usually let other people touch my weapons.
No.
Can I make a mechanical repair check to see if I recognize how like old that weapon is?
Do you have any sort of weapons, perhaps?
All my weapons are literal magic or.
Tell you what,
bare
make a
fists.
luck check. Make a luck check.
Luck? All right, sick. Nope.
Looks familiar, but
Hmm.
then again, it's a metal pipe with wood furniture, so
Yeah, it's fair.
it's a gun.
Somebody's
It's big enough
crossbow.
though. It's big enough though that that you need to carry around a unipod with it. If you've ever seen one of those things, it's where you dig it into the ground and set the gun on it because this thing's so hefty. You could fire it from the hip, but you shouldn't, because this thing could take somebody's head off at like easily 100 meters. But regardless, you're giving your weapon back, and the captain sort of signs a few papers and looks up at a lot of you. I'm not allowed to really give you much. I have the map from the ranger, and you'll need that. But I wish you luck. You're on your own when it comes to transportation. I can't provide. We don't have the sort of funding for that. So any weapons, armaments, horses, that's on you. And you're shown the rest of the map. To the east is the Bay of Soot. And further east and southerly is Watershed, the Scrublands, and then to the north is the Canyon and the Delta. There's a lot of traveling to be done, as it took you a whole day and a half to get from I'm talking specifically to Nihilus. It took you a whole day and a half to get from your tower to the mountain. So you can only imagine how long it's going to take to travel to other places.
Great.
You will suffer many perils along the way. Just because this place is peaceful doesn't mean it is bereft of violence and criminals.
Why do you think I have this big gun?
To shoot violence
Shoot
at
violence.
criminals. Like you picked up your cat when you were saying that, like shoot violence.
Ow.
Yeah. So oh, thank you. Alpha said nice map.
Gorgeous.
Thank
It is a nice map.
Very nice map.
So I'll give you, let's see, what are we running to? We're at about 2:55, so we'd be about a 3-hour mark. So that's actually you guys want to tell me what you're doing before you prep to head out? Because you're very freeform right now. You're just told that you need to go to Watershed to feed the thread. The mountain is nothing if not cryptic. The captain gives you well wishes, and you're on your own.
I made sure that Septimus and Decimus caught back up with me.
Yes. Would you like to make a sneak check for them?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sneak check, stealth.
Make it stealth. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Can I push myself again?
You can.
Oh, that's even worse.
Oh,
Oh no.
Damn it, dude.
bye, Septimus.
So, not only are Septimus and Decimus caught, Decimus shows up alone.
What happened?
Going to gesture. He got shot. Killed. Sorry.
We're gonna need a deck on us. Find us one before we leave.
As you wish. He disappears again without a word. So, what exactly did you say you needed again? I didn't quite catch
11.
that. 11? Oh, you need another servant.
I need another servant.
Well, I'll have Decimus make some rolls to see if he can find somebody. He rolled pretty good. He shows up with with an able boy, probably between the ages of 14 and 16, and he seems raring to go. You have no idea how Decimus communicated with this kid, or how he got him here, but Decimus just said, "Here you are."
I tell Octavia that he is to watch Mikolai and learn from him as much as he can, because he will be... I will look up the name in the break, but he will be the number 11.
I see. So, the name of this boy is Troy.
Troy.
Indeed.
It was Troy.
Now it's 11.
Now it's 11.
11.
11.
Decimus would explain to you at length that this boy was good at working and repairing and maintaining metal. So, we're at the 3-hour mark. We can keep going, or we can call it, because it is 9 o'clock. Maybe had a good 3-hour introductory session. It's whatever the players want.
I don't mind continuing. I just need a quick restroom break.
Same.
Sure.
I just had to grab some.
Yeah.
Grab a little bit of the spaghetti, and I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Forget.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Alright, don't go anywhere, anybody. We are going to take a short break, and then we will be right on back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for sitting tight with us. Gonna go ahead and turn things right back on over to Red.
Hello, I'm eating ice cream. Okay. So, where we left off, our intrepid heroes. Nobody.
Straight face that shit.
They just received a mission from a living god known as the Mountain, the person that watches over this oddly serene valley. There's a lot of history in this place, but a lot of it is buried, be it by choice or by nature. And now you are left to your own machinations, as you must plan to head southeasterly to Watershed.
Mikolai's gonna head back to the shop and grab some stuff needed for the journey. Some maybe a tool bag with some wrenches and some what is that stuff? The d100. You know, what is that stuff that breaks hard nuts? You know.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Sci-fi WD-40.
You never know when you might need something working again. That's my motto. You never know when you might need it again.
That's a good motto.
So he goes back, and then he talks to the neighbor. I guess it would be another shop, like a restaurant or something. I don't know. Yeah, can you watch the workshop for me?
Yeah, I got you. Don't even worry about it. I got it. So, Nihilus, are we following this guy around? We kind of need a place to stay for the evening.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'm just gonna make myself his problem. Yeah.
I know that there's going to be how far from what we can tell on the map, and using like most basic of like logic for I walked across the valley to get here from the south. Approximately how long would it take to get from the mountain to Watershed by comparison? Like, is this like days, weeks?
Were you keeping track of the days?
I think he probably has been, actually. He's probably weirdly like he wants to go back, so he's kind of counting each of the days. For him, it's almost like being like the worst version of being in detention, kind of. So he's counting the days, probably. I think he probably has like a scrap of paper that he keeps track of it on.
From when you first saw green grass on the edge of the valley, it's been about 10 days.
Okay. Watershed is at least 10 days journey then.
At least. You can imagine that through having to wind and not going a straight line, because we're not going to take a route that puts some hair on her chest. You're going to have to follow the path, because heading through the Bay of Soot. Well, actually, you don't know anything about the Bay of Soot, so maybe that's a good idea to go just a straight shot. Yeah.
The big thing is we're going to need food. So, probably without consulting anyone, are there any like woods or anything nearby?
Absolutely, yeah. Like just surrounding the mountain are woods, and you could ask your local friendly green warden for help.
It's fair. All right, so he's going to, as he watches Nihilus and Malachi go up and do his thing, do their things, he's going to turn to Alice and say, "We're gonna need food. That's gonna be a walk. And my pack maybe has a couple days rations, but want to go for a quick hunt?"
We can try. I must warn you, been some strange going-ons in the forest. It's not usual for there to be such sparse wildlife this time of year, yet I haven't seen anything in weeks now.
That's troubling, to say the least.
My thoughts exactly.
I come from the south. I'm used to things moving in, disrupting nature. Probably something big. I hope it's not something out of the void, if you even have one this close to the mountain.
Not that I'm aware of.
Hmm. Well, either way, we don't need much. A couple of squirrels or rabbits or something. Something we could dry overnight or salt. Be enough to buy us a couple of days' journey before we have to hunt again. If you're willing to help, be easier. I don't know the, He reaches for the word wildlife here.
Nor the land, and I'm not keen on losing any party members this soon, so I think that would be a good idea.
Thankfully, the land I might know a little more about. But, yeah. Thank you.
As the two of you are getting along, Nihilus is like throwing machine parts across the place to make a place where he can sleep. But what are you two up to?
I'm having Octavia explain why he doesn't have a choice.
See, we are going to stay the evening here.
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yes, you, simpleton.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
simpleton. Huh? You know, a smart man knows when to house people. So you make yourselves at home. We're a team now, you know. We do team things.
Yes, a team, of course. She looks over to Nihilus like, this guy's dumb.
I signed
she
to
goes,
her, tell him about the boy.
we have a new companion joining us this evening. He is going to assist us along our way. He's a bit like you, a scrapper, as it were. A person who plays with metal.
A boy.
Yes.
Explain that if he corrupts the boy, I will have his face.
If you do anything to bring harm to this boy or bring influence over him and our master, my master will wear your face like a mask.
Why would I do that to the boy?
Everyone has their reasons.
Alright. Mikolai is getting bad vibes, you know.
I'm
Just
sitting
now.
across from the table from this boy, and I have a small pocket book in front of him that I'm having him read out loud.
What's it say?
It is basically the catechisms of our religion. Answers to
It actually looks
questions
pretty
that he's
interesting.
not smart enough to figure out, to formulate yet.
Bless you. This boy actually looks pretty interested. You're welcome. He's actually been reading, and he would actually ask Decimus if it's okay to make notes. And Decimus would look to you. He actually isn't quite sure to answer that question. Usually Decimus is the one that knows these things, but
I take a blank book out of my my bag, and I hand it to him, and in the margin of the first corner, I put Troy's thoughts, and then I scratch out Troy, and I put Onesimus.
Onesimus. So it shall be.
So yeah, I'll bring out some food for them. Some homemade kielbasa. My father's recipe. You like? And I'll pull it out like on a plate.
Nihilus eats very little of it. Is it good?
Yeah, it's just like Polish sausage.
Oh no, I know what kielbasa is, but can you cook kielbasa good?
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's good.
So I'm gonna make you make a check for that. What kind of check do you think you would need to cook sausage? That is the last thing I thought I'd be asking somebody this session.
Brand new sentence. What
All
check
right,
do I need to roll to cook sausage?
All right, Nikolai is just gonna use his torch, the trusty torch.
You're gonna cook it with a butane torch.
You don't like a butane? They don't have butane across the sea where you're from.
Tastes like gasoline.
Oh, they're my
Tastes like
favorite.
progress.
My favorite ingredient.
Make a check that you think would be appropriate for torching sausage.
It tastes like butane, so you know it is sterile.
It tastes like home, you see, like the soil of potato.
All right, I'm gonna use engineering and physics because that's what an engineer would do.
Fucking choked.
Oh no!
No! Push yourself. Do it.
Oh my god.
Push it. What's the worst that could happen? You burn your shop down.
Okay,
There we go.
there we go.
Render unto us truly toxic sausage.
You use your knowledge of engineering and physics that your father spent years teaching you from old textbooks to torch a sausage. You do it pretty well. It gets a little black on a few sides, but
I like it chopped, the flavor,
I like the burnt ends. It tastes very good, comrade.
Corva, this is very good.
Your neighbor comes over. Hey, I can smell some sausage cooking over here. You ain't gonna get me any? Oh, you got some
Yeah,
new
of course.
friends. Hey, how you doing?
These are my friends. What's his name? Nihilus?
I don't even look at the newcomer. I am like absent-mindedly like counting, or I'm counting out as much of the sausage as I think it will require for me to replenish the calories I burned today, and at the same time I'm instructing the boy to reread the same line again.
Calculated. So probably about 2 sausages will cover it. These things seem pretty fatty. Okay, not very talkative. That's fine. I mean, hey, I'm here for the sausage. What can I say? Yeah. You can hook me up.
Here you go, my friend. Corva, maybe next time I make some pierogies.
The missus and I'll be waiting for that when you get back, buddy. Gives you a clap on the shoulder and takes it, and you're like, he bites into a particularly burnt one. God, I love that. And just kind of walks out.
Hey, good people. These what are they?
What probably
The neighbors. Yeah, the neighbors.
The neighbors.
The nicest people.
Octavia just looks disgusted, like.
Yeah, I'm just shooting. I shoot you daggers for a second before going back to doing what I'm doing. Like, I can't believe these people. Who the fuck are you? Like, don't you know that life is suffering? What's wrong with you? You live like you shouldn't, like, fucking hate everything all the time. You weird weaklings.
You're hearing the next house over. Marguerite made sausage again. Can you believe it?
Whole neighborhood out here for butane sausage.
Butane sausage. That's the shit. So back to the hunt.
Yeah, I wrapped some up for later for the stoneworker and Ellis.
Hell yeah, that's very respectful of you.
Nice.
Bandreaper said fat sausages in the chat. That's not that kind of show. You're out in the woods. What checks would you like to make to track an animal?
You're actually skilled at this. I definitely am not. My method of hunting would be knock over a tree and shoot what runs. So yours is probably a little bit more discreet.
Fling pebbles.
I guess even though I didn't do so well earlier, I'm motivated now by our task, so I'm gonna try track again.
Let's see it. Hey,
Oh
there
yeah,
you go.
I told you. Just needed a little fire lit under me.
Maybe in a literal sense. No, I'm kidding. So, as you're sort of making your way along and it's getting dark, it's pretty much pitch in the woods. Pull out a torch, strike it up. The first thing you see is tracks. You're like, yes. These look
Hell yeah.
like some sort of stag, deer creature similar to that.
I believe I found some prey.
Perfect. What kind?
Type of deer, probably stag, if we're lucky.
That'd feed us for a bit. All right.
Will do for now.
Lead the way then, Tracker.
All
As
right.
soon as you have a bead on it, let me know. I might be able to take care of it from there.
Let's just try and stay downwind and limit our noise.
All right. Stealth roll?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can make one for the both of you. Extreme success. Good. Wow. Okay.
He's
Nice.
actually pretty stealthy. He has spent years doing his best to learning under the glazier and training on how to become basically the most dangerous version of himself to protect Glaswall. And during that time, the glazier noticed he had a proficiency for being discreet and quiet despite his size. And at this point, his method of hunting at the moment is knock down tree, be quieter than that noise, and then usually grab something, and so he practically disappears.
Fades away. Just...
Ellis looks back at one point. She's like, "Oh shit, where'd he go?" Okay. Hopefully he's somewhere behind me.
Hopefully.
Oh shit, I may have lost him.
You
Oh, well,
might
he's still hot on the
briefly
trail.
catch like a pair of glowing orange eyes, like in a shadow nearby, just sort of like nod quietly before disappearing.
You're still hot on the trail, so you're not letting up. You come to a thin stream, which is appropriate because there are a few creeks and stuff like that that run through this part of the mountain. And you see a creature sort of squatted down, hunched over, biting into a hide, and you can hear like the visceral sounds of sinew and flesh and hide being sort of torn and ripped with teeth.
Like signal to halt.
He's
What I see.
he silently comes to a stop, his sort of leather boots making no sound on the grass.
I glance over at you and give you a look like, you picking up on what I am?
Nods. This thing is eating something?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it looks like it's eating the hide of something. You can only see it a little bit by the reflections in the. There looks to be at least two, or like a moon and a half visible this evening, and it's just gently reflecting off the creek, and you can see these forms sort of backlit, eating. Probably what you wanted to find.
So a
Is it
little bigger than our friend that we were tracking.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna pull out my handgun and just kind of have that at the ready.
All right. So the stoneworker's going to hold out his hand, and as he does, like slowly little chunks of stone and like calcified material sort of come off of it and sort of hover there around it, suspended. And he's sizing up how big this thing is. Like, so bigger than a deer. Are we talking bear-sized or bigger?
It's hard to tell because this thing is hairless. Whatever it is very thin. It's thin and uncanny looking. It's pale, you know that much. It's crouched, so to determine its height would be difficult, to say the least.
Okay. How much magic to put into this? Let's see. It's got 13 magic points. How I know you mentioned how often that we're going to be able to rejuvenate magic points and sanity more rapidly. How often do we rejuvenate magic points, or how readily is it doable? I don't want to burn out my magic economy first game killing whatever werebear is over here.
You're gonna have to spend a day or two. For each day you spend, you get, depending on the check, you get a D3 points back.
Okay.
Depending on how successful you are in relaxing.
Fair. Okay. Is this thing probably about... Is this thing within 20 feet of me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
You guys are like sort of... So, setting the scene, you guys are sort of like going off of a game trail. You're on a little bit of a heightened platform of grass, and then down it sort of slopes into a bank, and then down into the creek. So you have a good 20 feet on this, and maybe about 5 feet of height. So you have the advantage.
We have the high ground.
We do.
Don't try it!
High ground! Are you robbing me? But high ground! All right. So if that's the case, then he is going to put 5 points of magic into his crushing willpower. And it's all going to be in the damage. So that should be 10d10 strength force versus this creature's con. So let's see if this works. I'm not sure exactly how to work this. I know I'm going to have to make a sanity. I'm going to have to lose D6 sanity no matter what.
Yeah.
Must be able to see the target. Each magic point invest for every 30 feet of distance. Don't worry about that. Target is struck. When the target is struck, an opposed roll. So this is, I guess, a straight opposed roll. There's no hit roll? Or is there a hit roll?
It sounds like there's just an opposed roll.
Okay. So that's the case, then it is 10d10. I literally can't get higher than 5d10, so I'm just going to manually enter that in. 10d10. And you know what? I'm going to use that extra die you gave me earlier, and I'm going to make it 11d10. And this thing has a constitution roll.
And what does it have to succeed on? It's contested by the roll?
Yeah, it's contested by the roll, so it just needs to be... See, if I'm successful, I just need to be successful. If I am, this thing is not completely unconscious. If I'm not, then, whatever, doesn't work. And then after that, we determine how far it gets flung based on its size versus the roll that I had. So, but it goes unconscious.
Partner?
Regardless. Come on. I literally should have opened up more space so I could see that more. 65.
How you do it?
So the stoneworker holds his hand out, and then he just makes a very simple chopping motion. And as he does, you can feel sort of a pressure build in your inner ear, and then you hear a crunch and see the creature literally bend from behind, like something chopped it, like hundreds of pounds of stone chopped it. So much so when it goes in the riverbed, it cracks the earth beneath it.
I jump in surprise and kind of grab you. Like, what the hell was that?
I'm going to roll that d6 sanity damage just to make sure I take care of that now. Of course.
Oh, take max. So how much damage does this do? Does it even say it does damage?
It's 60. It doesn't do damage. It just renders him unconscious. But here's where we figure it out. What's this thing's size? It's the strength of the blow 65 minus its size. That's why I was curious earlier.
Its total size.
Yeah. That determines how far it gets thrown. It does just go unconscious.
no matter what.
Yeah, it's unconscious if it fails the roll. Whether I yeet it depends on whether or not it, what the size difference is.
This thing's size is bigger than 65.
I had a feeling. That's why I was like, okay. So it doesn't do damage, but it does render it instantly unconscious, is the trick.
Okay, so it sort of collapses over in a heap, as you described, into the creek. It isn't really it isn't like carried away. It just sits there because the creek's not very big. It's no river, but it just sort of sits there, halfway sodden, halfway broken.
Okay. He sort of just puts a hand on Ellis, where you grab me by by your hands, and he sort of just does that like a grimace when you touch him. Just holds his hand up. Fine. Magic, it's magic, and we don't have long. We need to kill it before it wakes up. And he stands up and runs towards the creature to get close enough to it to hopefully kill it.
Make sure you subtract magic points equal to the amount spent for this.
Yes, thank you. That was 5 magic. So
very limited resource.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm down to 8, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So we get closer, I'd imagine, and quickly. I would definitely imagine he would be running quickly. Like, stealth is forgotten. This thing is out.
Running right behind you. You want this thing dead? I got a pretty sure way for you.
By all means. And he sort of lets you get ready to do your thing as he brings one of his fists back. And you can see it calcifies and sharpens until it almost looks kind of like a stone punching dagger. A little bit. Not nearly as fancy, almost like stalactites. So after you shoot it, if this thing still is somehow alive, is the goal.
I'm hoping this will take him out. I'm gonna pull out my elephant gun. If this thing doesn't kill him, we're in trouble.
You don't have to roll to hit because it's not moving. It's not really a challenge. You're literally just shooting the thing on the ground. Yeah, so you're fine. So you're gonna roll damage.
Okay.
Which I believe it's written down. You should just be able to click it, I think.
On skills or on combat?
Combat. You should just be able to click the damage and it'll auto roll it for you. Excuse me. 14. Now, this thing's average damage is about 9 to 10. So, and average humans are about 8 to 10. You can bet your ass this thing will kill anything. So you take out this monstrous gun and sort of like use the barrel to prop it up, funnily enough, and you sort of like put it to its head. You look at this thing, and as you're looking at it, it looks human, almost. It looks like a hominid. It's like a feral ape. Sort of just strange, skewn features and sharp, jagged teeth and animal-like eyes, just sort of bulging with large black pupils, very fish-like and eyeless, and it's completely hairless. And its head sort of comes to a point. Make a sanity check.
Ooh. Where's oh, I see it, okay. I clicked on it.
Yeah, you succeeded.
Oh, okay.
You'll only take 1 point of sanity damage. Stoneworker, would you also like to make a sanity check? 'Cause I'm assuming you're examining this wretched-looking thing.
Oh, absolutely. I've eaten grosser.
So each of you take 1 point of sanity damage because neither of you, especially Ellis, have ever seen a creature like this before. But this thing looks like it is built to be a natural predator. It is completely hairless, but it's almost like slick, like a lizard. So it's aerodynamic. It's really greasy and strange, and its legs are built in such a way to jump great distances. As you blast this thing's head into nothing but bone, sinew, and flesh, there's a silence. You killed it.
I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. I never seen nothing like this in this forest before, and I sure as hell hope I never see one again.
He, Stoneworker leans down, sort of looks over it, lifts one of its claws up. Like, does this thing have humanoid, hominid-like hands, or like
Yeah.
with actual opposable? Ooh,
It has opposable thumbs with very sharp talons. It's almost like it's purposely sharpened them somehow. Like it got a piece of flint and like ran
like-
these extra strong enamel on its fingernails into sharp points. Because these things are covered in like flesh and sinew, like beneath them. They're black.
Now be careful touching that thing. You never know what kind of diseases these things might carry.
well, I hope whatever it is, it's something we can burn out of it, because it's a lot of meat, and so is the thing it was eating. And we're gonna need it.
I'm not eating that thing. I've
You're
eaten
not-
a lot of things in my life, but I draw the line here.
You're not sure. You're not sure if you can justify this as anything but cannibalism because this thing is so close to what you are, and Stoneworker, as you're handling its hand, it twitches violently as it enters. It starts to enter in the pre-stages of rigor mortis. Scares the crap out of you. I'm not gonna have you make a sanity check, but it just sort of twitches like just rapidly.
Ooh, that made me bolt. That made me
Okay,
jolt.
yeah, fine. We'll roll sanity. Hey, folks in chat, how much sanity damage do you think he should take? We're gonna do d6s. So any number of d6s, first number I see is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I know.
I'm okay.
Meets it.
Seriously.
I'm just like, yeah, this usually happens after you get them with a good shot like that. You okay, buddy? Buddy?
Alpha says
oh no.
1. Okay,
Okay, that's fair.
fine. I'll say it doesn't affect Alice at all. Alice is used to that kind of crap with animals,
I'll
especially
take another point.
with fish. No, you're gonna take a roll.
Okay.
Take 2. Get fucked. Al, you're sort of laughing at the fact that this thing twitched. It's just like, oh, that was
That scare you?
big mean man gets spooked.
That's cute.
He let's see, so I was at 50 what, 8? 57 now, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. He chuckles for a second under his breath. Yeah, well, I'll admit it. I'm not actually made of stone. And he stands up.
As
And
you stand
admittedly,
up,
that is freaky.
as you stand up, you see a pair of eyes watching you from the tree line. And then another. And then another up high in the trees and the branches. And then another. And then
Okay,
another.
we go now.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw them or not, but I probably pick up on you looking around, noticing something, and I'm like, we need to get the hell out of here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And begin like swiftly walking the way we came.
Walking?
I'm gonna run.
Okay, the second she runs, I'm running too.
You hear an unearthly howl, and it sounds like a human could do it. It's I don't know if I want to. Let me turn my input down so I don't break anybody's ear.
Do you want me to do it?
No, I can do it.
Okay. Good cleric beast.
Nice.
And you hear branches and the undergrowth rapidly being trampled as these things are on all fours coming after you at full speed. What is your movement?
Shit, actual like movement things. Let's see.
Where is that?
Yeah, where do we find that? I don't even see it on here.
Movement? It should be under combat.
On
Oh,
there?
hang on. Dang it. Let's see. Actually, oh yeah, movement rate of 7. There we go.
Ah, good.
Why don't I see that?
It's right next to the damage bonus on the combat tab.
Yeah.
It'll be right next to your armor type in between the damage bonus, about in the middle to the right. It's right above your weapons.
I have dexterity, dodge, and build.
Then
Oh, yeah.
2
Mind.
over should be damage bonus and movement.
They're blank.
Oh, your movement rate is blank. Let me check something real quick.
Yeah,
Oh, it didn't automatically calculate your movement?
I guess
It's-
not.
I guess
Dexterity and your
or something with
strength.
the autofill.
Yours is 7. I just
Okay.
No. Yeah, so you have an average movement. These things are quick. So you are now in a chase. What a chase means is that I'll put a little bit of representation on the map for you, since these are a little bit odd. This is the line. Oh, they have a circle tool now. That's lovely. This is where the enemy is. This is the in-between. This is where you are. And then I'll put 2 more to sort of represent. And I'll use a different color to represent where things are. Enemy is... Oop, I did not mean for the circle tool. Let me draw an X. Enemy is here. And you are here. So, we've done car chases on the channel before. Haven't done a foot chase. They're not much different. You just have to come up with improv things that you think would be appropriate to help get away from these creatures. And they'll be doing the same thing to you. So, I'll let the both of you start. Actually, yeah, I'll let the both of you start.
Are we doing stuff that would involve making a roll? Or are we just saying what we're wanting to do?
Give me an idea of what you're wanting to do. Like, for example, it'd be like, well, if you're in a city, it'd be like, I knock over a trash can. But in this, you'd be like, you'd take out a survival knife and cut down a branch, or just like, push through a branch, dodge underneath something, work away through a game trail, that kind of stuff. And you guys can take your turn at the same time as well.
Okay. I'm thinking I see a fallen tree and kind of like do that thing where you run and then you slide underneath it, like jump and slide.
What do you think would be appropriate for that?
Jump, I guess.
Yeah, jump would be
I'm gonna like jump and roll underneath it and hope that they're gonna struggle getting over or around it.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Jump. Okay,
Nice.
so you succeed. So you move yourself up 1. Wow, this is going much better than the last one, Omni.
I mean, in fairness, in the last one, I literally was required to do everything my character wasn't supposed to do that night, including drive someone else's car.
Now that was funny.
And I got shot for my trouble.
You did. And it was funny. So that's your first success. So this group of, we'll call them hominids, starts making their way. They succeed on theirs, and they don't critically succeed, but they hard succeed. And now they are right behind you, and you hear these things gaining on you. Now Alice is doing a good job maneuvering and keeping away from these things, but these things see the stoneworker, and the stoneworker is the one that broke their brother's back. And actually, you realize something, stoneworker. You look over your shoulder. You must have killed a baby.
Oh no.
They're bigger.
They're significantly bigger.
All right.
That's not good.
You see them putting their hands on the trees and just like pushing past them.
Yeah, that does trench things up a little bit. All right. So, okay. See, tethered combat here. I don't think he's not gonna go for a punch or anything, but
No, I would not.
no, I'm not stupid. He's not stupid, for the record. He's actually smarter than our last character was. But yes, statistically, he's smarter than the last guy.
Okay.
Not by much, but a little bit.
I got a bigger boy.
Could he use tethered combat to direct his magic to sort of disrupt the soil as he's sprinting over it, like crack it or shatter it in a way that might slow these creatures down as we run.
You want to make a tethered check?
Yes,
Sure,
tethered
yeah.
combat, yeah. All right. Come on, and I will totally reroll that if I need this. Come on! Hell
Hard
yeah.
success. So, as you're running along, you stomp your foot down and you feel the reverberations of the ground just sort of unearth itself as roots just shoot out and stones start flying, and it disrupts these things. You hear a few of them trip as you get ahead. Now, since you guys have had nothing but success, I'll have this thing roll one more, and if you guys succeed one more time, you get away. But we'll see if that happens. Oh, well, seems that between Ellis's elegant ability to sort of meander through these game trails, since they spend most of their life in the woods, it kind of makes sense that they know the ins and outs of it. They completely disappear, and you have literally set up a roadblock for these things. So you escape, and you make your way back to the torchlights in the city. You are safe for now.
Out of character, high five.
High five.
Well, looks like you're gonna have to spend money to get food.
Yeah.
If you want to go back.
Yeah, not keen on that.
All I wanted was a fucking, like, deer or a rabbit, but no, Sasquatch was in the woods and it had a family. Killed his kid.
You're not sure what you just saw, but you see the guard looking at you, and they have their hand on their pistol, like, everything all right?
Big old bear in the woods. I'd stay away for a while if I were you.
Oh, okay. I'll let folks around here know.
Yeah, definitely don't want anyone running into it, so stay clear.
Understood. Thanks for the heads up. And you see him like sort of flick the little leather hatch on his holster, and he just goes and walks off, probably towards his station. But yeah, you're fine. You sort of might have figured out why there's no animals in the woods.
Yeah. The stoneworker is going to turn to you, and he's probably still casting like very dim light because his tether is probably still ignited from having used magic earlier. In fact, probably not too long ago. So it's physically visible by even other people at this point. And he would turn to Ellis and say, "So I'm going to assume that you normally don't have those things in the woods. Why didn't you tell them that?"
You think they were gonna believe us? I hardly believe it myself.
He literally puts his hand on his temples and just does that, like, "Oh God, I'm too young to be this annoyed." And he turns towards her and says, "Okay, maybe things are different on the mountain, but where I come from, the void spits out some pretty nasty creatures. I've never seen anything quite like that, but if there's something like that in the area, you have to tell someone or they will prey upon these people. It's not like as though if they weren't in the forest, we just walked into that. There's no fence. What happens if a kid wanders in there?" Does that make sense?
I've never dealt with no void things before.
I don't know what that was. I assume. Freakiest things I've ever seen. Point is, someone needs to know about them. At least before we go.
Well, by all means.
Alpha said, "What's a group of rakes called? A shed?"
That fucking broke me earlier, dude.
I just saw that. That's funny.
Alpha literally just dropped the "when the stoneworker is shook, is that an earthquake?"
Anyway, so morning comes around, and I'm assuming that the stoneworker and Alice are finding a place to stay.
Yeah. Figure
I
at
don't
this
know if
point
you'd want to
probably
go back out to your cabin.
Yeah, I'm not so not in a rush to get back there anymore.
Yeah, no, that's No thanks. I'll leave the terrifying monster hunting grounds to the monsters at this point. It's
Well,
theirs.
you're sort of left with those questions. What are those things, and how did they get here, and when did they get here? But those questions can't necessarily be answered. Why? Who would know? So,
I mean, can I do some type of check to see if I remember when the animals started to not be around?
since you rolled pretty, yeah, go ahead. Roll
Just like a general timeline. I probably won't know exactly when they arrived.
You, mm, maybe not a check for this one. You sort of noticed animals thinning out about a month ago, and then
Okay.
they started just becoming less and less existent. Less
Hmm.
birds, less mammals, less anything. Hell, even less insects.
Vicious.
Suspicious
In the
indeed.
insects. I mean, animals do have intuition, so part of it could be them just leaving because they know the threat's there, not necessarily that they've been wiped out.
True.
Still,
Migration.
don't like it.
Regardless, you're gonna have to spend the evening elsewhere, and I'll let you decide how and where you go about that.
I mean, we're too far to get to, or no, we're at the town, right?
Yeah, you're in the town.
Probably don't know where. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting your character's name, Jihan.
Nikolai.
Nikolai. It's like Nikolai, but with M. Nikolai. I probably don't know where he lives.
I mean, you could. You do have to go into town every now and then, but
My family's been in the business for many years. Of course she knows.
Of course
Yeah,
you
I
know
don't
where
live in
Nikolai-
town though.
Maybe some sort of check to see if you know where he stays. I can't wait to draw more characters. particularly Nihilus's best friends.
Thinking either intelligence or education. Just like, do I remember ever having visited his shop or just having heard about it?
Intelligence would be figuring out where his shop would be. Education would be just knowing where it is. So I'll let you decide between those two.
I'll
It's
do
both
education.
applicable.
Ooh, I don't know.
You have no idea where it is. You're probably just gonna have to stay in an inn for the evening. And stoneworker,
Hmm.
you're gonna make yourself a little rock house.
I think actually what he'll do is are there any like just standing soul trees nearby here? Just not down in the forest, but like up here on top of the village.
Maybe a few here and there, sparsely.
He's just gonna find one off of the path, take out a blanket or or better probably just his furry cloak, and pull it around himself, lean against the tree, and just fall asleep like he has been on the road for who knows how long.
One way to do it.
As far as he's concerned, finding civilization was dumb luck at this point.
Well, tomorrow's the day. So if you guys have anything to buy, anything you can think of, definitely let me know now and add it to your list of equipment. Within reason, of course. You're not going to be able to get yourself hands on like an automatic weapon or anything like that unless you do some serious bartering or giving up some of your assets, as you guys have, with your cash, quote unquote. So, Jihan already kind of told me what he was wanting. He wanted to get like tools and stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's stuff you'd already have, so no worries at all.
Just food supplies, really, is all I think that he needs.
Nikolai sausage.
Make more sausage for the road. Yeah.
Hardtack's fine, man.
I would
Gross.
I'd like to get some food supplies, flask for water. I probably already have like a bedroll and like, you know, stuff to spend the night outdoors with.
Yeah, you have a bit of a kit.
Mhm.
You know, you have like a tent that you can set up
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But
Uh, Matches, tinder, you know, stuff to start a fire with.
absolutely. Okay.
Oh,
And
can I get a lantern?
a lantern. Let's have a luck roll to see if you can find one at a merchant.
Ooh.
I don't shop very often. I'm just not, you know.
Not a
I rough
savvy
it.
shopper.
Yeah,
You can't
like
find a lantern, but you find more torches.
like walk into a clothing store. Y'all got any lanterns?
Hmm.
I'm at the soup store.
Torches will work.
You got
For
plenty of those. They're a little bit less concealable than a lantern would be, but they work. So,
I'll do the job.
what's everybody else buying? How about Nihilus? What are you buying? Because you have a bunch of people to look after, unless you don't want to take all these on the road with you.
I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
Oh, am I being quiet? That better?
Yes.
Okay. What are you taking on the road?
My scions, whatever food that we'll require, and I mean, we're not really one for like niceties, right? So the bare necessities.
Bare necessity.
Those simple bare necessities.
Forget about your worries and your strife.
Feed capitalism. Dancing. Feed capitalism. All right. So everybody's got their equipment and they're all ready to go. So you guys are, I'm assuming you're meeting up on the outskirts of town in the morning. Kind of goes without saying.
Can I take a hoverboard?
God damn it.
Marty McFly over here.
No, but you can take this. It will keep you safe in your journey.
Oh.
Here you go. You have a pet frog. Unless you guys have anything else to say, I think we'll start the journey next session.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
All right.
Well, thank you so much to everybody for being here, Red. Thank you for running such a phenomenal show, dude. This is such a blast. I cannot wait to see what we get into and what happens throughout this campaign. Oh my goodness. Thank you, everybody. Let's go ahead and go around and tell us where we can find you, what you're working on. Jihan, go ahead and start us off, buddy.
Oh, I'm just a player on the channel, DM Studios. Catch me here every Saturday.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
Also making music. So, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. We got some funky stuff in the works. We're excited for it. Natalie, what are you doing?
Just playing this game and Covet Syndicate, which is also here on DMDM Studios channel. You can find me on Twitter at LedSozoBeans. I realized I should probably start spelling that for people because it's LED, like Led Zeppelin. So
It is right
Led
above your
Zeppelin.
face.
Oh, it is. Okay, I didn't realize that.
And like the shirt Jihan's wearing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing a Led
Awesome.
Zeppelin shirt.
Nice. Gotta respect the Zap.
So you can find my art there and random memes and stuff. That's about it.
Awesome. All right, Omni, what do you got going on, buddy? You got something to announce, right?
I do. Hey, everyone. I am the last Omnitech, your favorite robot American, and I'm peddling wares. Speaking of AEUS, if you guys enjoyed this setting or enjoyed the game so far, I have been, like a hermit, working on the AEUS Caltrop core game for basically the better part of 2 months, polishing the crud out of it and getting it ready to go. And it is done. Officially, as of today, the whole thing, the PDF is good to go.
And I got it right here, right in the chat, just for you.
Hey.
So go there, click on that, pay what you want, or nothing, or whatever. Just click the button, get the PDF, give me the feedback. I want to feel justified in it. Spending 2 months of this. I'm joking, but seriously, it's a fun game. It's built on Caltrop Core, so it's extremely easy to run. Be a fun way to have a couple of fun adventures with you and your friends in this crazy setting. On top of that, I've been working on my legacy tabletop role-playing game system, which I'm now going to be getting back to now that AEUS Caltrop Core is off my table. And I will be returning to streaming February, first week of Wednesdays and Saturdays moving forward.
Woo!
So keep an eye out. I'm going to do gaming content and a little world-building content over there too. And you might even see a familiar face on one of the 2 shows. More details on that to come.
Hey, let's go, dude.
That's
super hype. Hell yeah, dude. That's super hype. Awesome stuff, Omni. I can't wait to download this book and delve all into it. Hell yeah. Red, what's good, my dude?
Dramatic glasses take off. I probably just broke it. Hello, I'm at VA Redemption. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter a lot these days. It's kind of an addiction, but I love talking to you folks and interacting with people all the time. I run my own channel. Not to take away from Derek, because I'm on this channel a lot, and I love everything that we do here.
Not at all.
I love it so much that I run a game on here. But folks, if you like AEUS, if you like what you're seeing so far, we do talk about this. That's English. We talk about and work on AEUS over on Redemption VA on Twitch. We do shows on Wednesdays and Thursdays and midnight where we do World Breakers, but 8 p.m. CST, Wednesday, Thursday, we talk about AEUS. Thursday, we have on special guests every single week. And yeah, if you want to be part of the world building fun, join us for that. It's a really great time. And you'll see two of these faces. Omni's my co-host, and Derek's also my co-host for my midnight show, 12:30, half past midnight. So join us for that if you like this world, and if you want to participate in building this world, absolutely be a part of it. It's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, dude. It's been such a blast making stuff with you and then getting to come play in it. That's like the purest form of creativity, dude. That's so fucking radical.
So much fun.
It's so surreal and awesome. Like literally 2 months ago, none of this existed, and now we're walking through it. It's kind of metal, man.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, it's fucking fire, dude. Well, thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Shout outs in the chat to Alpha. Thank you so much for joining us, being so lively in the chat. It's been so nice having some new faces. Drabs, thank you for the souls. Everybody else, let me make sure I'm not missing people. I know Neris was in here as well, and Bon, thank you guys.
MD as well.
MD, everybody, if I don't get to you, I'm sorry. There's been people filtering in and out the whole night, but thank you for being here. We genuinely do appreciate it. Y'all make us you'll make our evenings with your funny jokes and just being around. We really appreciate it. Tomorrow is Samurai Sunday. You can catch us live at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time for Heart of an Empire, a Legend of Five Rings actual play, hosted by Lost Haven Art, Andy on Twitter. He is going to be weaving another tale. We just started off on our next adventure. We're going to be going up to the north to meet a new clan. Well, I mean, they've been there for a while, but new to us. We haven't encountered anybody from their clan yet, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. The book that Andy and I wrote is on drive-thru. You can find it there. It's called Artifacts of the Arcadian Sentinel. And that is pretty much all I have for announcements at this point in time. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but that might just be like I'm always forgetting something. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be raiding into, I believe they're still online. Let me make sure they're still online. Yeah, Drinky Fox. Drinky Fox has raided in a couple of times during the week, and we need to go ahead and make sure that we are sharing the love, spreading it on him. He's doing a tournament for a game called Goose Goose Duck. So we're going to go ahead and pull into his chat. Stick around for the extra souls at the very least. And yeah, that is pretty much it for us. Thank you again, guys. Love y'all, and we will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.